Chapter 4:11. Very quickly, the four Holy Lands reacted. Under the lead of the four Supreme Elders, many experts from the four Holy Lands came out of the mountains and headed towards the Changsun sect. They wanted the Changsun sect to hand over Ling Xiao. When the Changsun sect was in the Changsun secret land, everyone thought that Ling Xiao had come out. They did not expect Ling Xiao to still be in the Changsun secret land. The five Holy Lands did not mention the fact that the demons in the Changsun secret land had broken free from the seal. Although they were worried, the entrance to the Changsun secret land had been broken. They thought that the demons were trapped in the Changsun secret land and could not come out. The Changsun sect is done for. How can a small sect fight against the four Holy Lands? It's all Ling Xiao's fault. He dared to harm the leaders of the four Holy Lands. This brat has brought disaster to the Changsun sect. I think Ling Xiao is going to run away. Otherwise, he'll die. Sigh. It's a pity that the great barren ancient kingdom has such a rare genius. Everyone sighed. They thought that the Changsun sect and Ling Xiao would not be able to escape this time. However, at this moment, there was news that the Jade Lake sect was going to send experts to help the Changsun sect. I heard that the Jade Lake King sent a Grand Elder to help the Changsun sect. I don't think the Jade Lake sect can fight against the four Holy Lands. Isn't that so? I heard that the Jade Lake King left the Changsun secret land alive but was severely injured. Otherwise, the four Holy Lands would have to think twice. The winds and clouds are gathering at the Longevity Mountain. There's going to be a good show this time. Ling Xiao's combat strength is not enough to kill a noble realm expert. Even with the Jade Lake sect's support, the Changsun sect will not be able to escape the fate of being destroyed. Everyone discussed. Some mocked the Changsun sect, some sympathized with the Changsun sect, and some did not care. However, they all looked at the Changsun sect. In the Changsun sect. Still no news of the saint. In the Changsun hall, Nangong Xian exuded a powerful aura. He had broken through to the celestial realm. However, there was no joy on his face. He looked serious and worried. For the past few days, the Longevity sect's disciples had been searching everywhere. They had even gone deep into the Longevity mountain range, but they still couldn't find Ling Xiao's whereabouts. The Moon Goddess and the Phoenix Lady stayed behind in the Changsun sect. Although they believed that Ling Xiao would definitely return, they still shivered when they thought about the Changsun sect and the powerful extraterrestrial demons that broke out of the seal. Was it really possible for Ling Xiao to survive against such a powerful extraterrestrial demon? The saint will definitely return. That's right, the saint is invincible. Li Ling, Master Jiaomu, Jian Wuk, Deng Yalan, and the other disciples of the Changsun sect all had fervent looks of worship and conviction in their eyes. They believed that Ling Xiao would definitely return. When they thought about how Ling Xiao had killed the Lord of Yin Yang, the Lord of Nirvana, the Black Dragon King, the Lord of Hades, and the four noble realm elders, they felt their blood boiling. They were filled with fervent admiration for Ling Xiao. Such a saint would definitely not die. Ling Xiao allowed them to truly see the hope of the Changsun sect's rise. What did the so-called five great Holy Lands count for? Weren't the so-called masters of the Holy Lands cut down 8 kings like vegetables by the saint? I also believe that the saint won't die. Sect Master, our top priority is to think of a way to deal with the upcoming calamity. The experts of the 4 great Holy Lands are about to arrive. The first elder said slowly with a hint of worry in his eyes. Even though Ling Xiao had slain the 8 kings, allowing the disciples of the Changsun sect to vent their anger, the 4 Holy Lands were still like mountains. Now that they had come together to find trouble with the Changsun sect, they might even vent their anger on the Changsun sect. At that time, the people of the Changsun sect would be in great danger. Why don't we leave the Changsun mountain first and hide for a while until the 4 great Holy Lands retreat? A few elders suggested. Their faces were pale. The pressure from the 4 great Holy Lands was too great. Leave the Changsun sect. Where can we hide? I'm afraid that the 4 great Holy Lands will find us. Moreover, The Changsan Mountain is the foundation of the Changsan sect. This is the foundation left behind by our ancestors. We can't let it be destroyed in our hands. The first elder said slowly. That's right. We can't leave. So what if the 4 great holy lands come together? With the Changsan God sealing array, they might not be able to break it. So what if the array is broken? At most, we'll fight to the death. As long as the saint is still here, the Changsan sect will rise from the ashes one day. Nangong Xian finally made up his mind. A sharp light flashed in his eyes. Even though Ling Xiao told him that the Changsan God sealing array could block the attacks of noble realm experts with the Path Understanding Tree as the core of the array, it was still unknown whether the Changsan God sealing array could block the attacks of 4 noble realm experts this time. Nangong Xian hoped that Ling Xiao would not come back. The further he went, the better. As long as Ling Xiao was alive, there would be a day for revenge. Fight to the death. Fight to the death. As long as the saint is alive, the Changsan sect will not be destroyed. Many disciples of the Changsan sect were provoked by Nangong Xian. They roared and their voices shook the clouds. The moon goddess and phoenix lady looked at each other and smiled bitterly. So what if they were provoked? They knew how terrifying the 4 great holy lands were. Compared to the 4 great holy lands, the Changsan sect was like a mantis trying to stop a chariot. They would probably be torn apart in an instant. Can he come back in time? The moon goddess and phoenix lady could not help but think of a handsome figure. Rumble. Just then, thunder rumbled in the sky. The sky trembled and a vast and terrifying aura descended. It was cold and murderous. Everyone of the Changsan sect, listen up. Hand over Ling Xiao and you may have a chance to live. Otherwise, the Changsan sect will not be spared. His cold and indifferent voice was like a clap of thunder, causing the faces of everyone inside the longevity hall to sink. The experts of the 4 great holy lands had arrived. The sky above the Changsan mountain was originally clear. But now, it was covered by dark clouds. There were flashes of lightning. A group of people with powerful auras appeared in the sky. They looked cold and murderous. The 4 elders in the lead stood side by side. The space around them trembled and there was a blazing light. When they opened their eyes, they were filled with murderous intent. Nangong Xian led the elders and disciples of the Changsan sect out of the Changsan hall. He looked at the group of people in the sky, especially the 4 elders in the lead. His heart sank. There were hundreds of people in the sky. They were all experts of the celestial realm and above. They walked in the sky and their auras were terrifying. There were even many experts at the peak of the celestial realm and half-step to the noble realm. Chapter 4:12. The one who spoke was the supreme elder of the Sun Moon Star sect, Zhao Ong. He wore a long red robe and his hair was all white. He looked very majestic and there was a faint flame around him. He gave off a terrifying aura. His eyes were filled with killing intent. The Sun God and Zhao Ritian were his grandchildren. Now that they had died in the secret territory of longevity, he hated Ling Xiao to the extreme. People of the Changsan sect, where is Ling Xiao? Zhao Ang's voice was cold and there seemed to be a flame burning in his eyes. Ling Xiao is not in the Changsan sect now. He was also trapped in the secret territory of longevity and we don't know if he's dead or alive. Are you guys trying to vent your anger on the Changsan sect? Nangong Xian said coldly. He knew that the Changsan sect would not be able to survive today and he was ready to die. Ling Xiao died in the secret territory of longevity. Ha ha ha. It's too easy for him to die just like that. But how do I know if you're telling the truth? Open the sect protecting formation and let us in to search for him. Zhao Ong said coldly. Right now, the entire longevity mountain was enveloped by a layer of transparent enchantment, emitting a mysterious light. Auspicious qi rose, and multicolored light shone brightly, causing Zhao Ong to be secretly shocked. He felt that the longevity school's sect protecting formation was not simple. The Changsan Mountain is the sacred ground of the Changsan sect. No one is allowed to enter without permission. Everyone, please leave. Nangong Xian said slowly. Fellow Taoist Xiao, why are you talking to him? Just break the sect protecting formation and kill the entire Changsan sect. It seems like the people from the Jade Lake sect are not here yet. He's just stalling for time. The supreme elder of the Wanshou sect looked very burly. His hair danced in the wind like a ferocious tiger. He was domineering and wild. His eyes were filled with killing intent. Who's willing to break the Changsan sect protecting formation? The supreme elders of the Terminator Demon sect and the Underworld sect also took a step forward with killing intent in their eyes. The reason why the four great saint lands came here in such a grandiose manner was to destroy the Changsan sect with lightning speed. They wanted to intimidate those who had other thoughts and establish the authority of the four great saint lands. We three brothers are willing to break the formation. What's a mere sect protecting formation? If the three of us work together, we can break it with a flip of our hand. Three middle-aged men walked out from the Terminator Demon sect. They were dressed in black robes and emanated a dense demonic aura. Their cultivation levels had actually reached the 6th level of the heaven tier, and their auras were extraordinary. The three brothers of the Wang clan. Very good, breaking the Longevity Gates sect protecting formation, this old man will reward you handsomely. The supreme elder of the Terminator Demon sect, Hong Luo, nodded. The Wang clan's three brothers had high attainments in array formations. If they were to attack, they should be able to break the Longevity Gates array. The four grand elders did not make a move due to their status. People from Changsan sect, listen up. Once I break your damn formation, it will be your death date. Wang family's eldest brother sneered. The three of them turned into streams of light and flew down instantly. Nangong Xian and the others looked worried. The cultivation of the three Wang brothers was extraordinary. If it wasn't for the sect protecting array, the three of them would be able to slaughter all the elders and disciples of the Longevity sect. Although Ling Xiao had said that the Immortality God-sealing matrix had the power to resist noble plane cultivators, Nangong Xian had never tested it before. Therefore, he was worried. Buzz! A resplendent light flashed as a faint mist spread out, ethereal and mysterious. The three brothers of the Wang clan rushed downwards and were instantly teleported to an unknown spacetime. What can a mere array do to us? Brothers, set up the Trikai array. Today, we will break this damn array. Wang family's eldest brother sneered. The three brothers immediately changed their forms and used the righteous steps. Between them, there was a divine light that connected them. It was dazzling and mysterious symbols spread out. The three of them were like three sharp swords that pierced through the thick mist. Their eyes were ferocious as they pounced towards Nangong Xian and the others. Boom! Just then, lightning flashed in the sky. A purple heavenly thunder descended. It was extremely hot and gave off a destructive force. The expressions of the three Wang brothers changed drastically. They felt a threat of death that made their scalps tingle. They were instantly struck by the violet heavenly lightning. They didn't even have time to cry out before they were reduced to ashes. Great! The cultivators from the Longevity sect grew spirited and an incomparably excited look appeared on their faces. The great Longevity God Seal array was truly powerful. The three Sky Human stage cultivators were incapable of resisting in the slightest as they were instantly reduced to ash by the divine lightning of purple sky firmaments. Deng Yalan and Deng Tianda looked at each other. Their scalps went numb, but they were more relieved. They recalled the scene when Ling Xiao summoned the purple heavenly thunder. Fortunately, Ling Xiao showed mercy. Otherwise, they would have died. Die! The supreme elder of the demonic sect of Terminator was furious. Although he felt that the Changsan sect's protective matrix was not ordinary, he did not expect it to be so powerful that it could kill the three Wang clan brothers. Boom! A powerful aura exploded from Hong Luo's body. He punched out. The terrifying fist aura was like a black meteor. Demonic chi filled the sky and pressed down on Nangong Xian and the others. Even though they were far away, Nangong Xian and the others could feel the oppressive and terrifying aura. Their expressions changed drastically. A noble realm cultivator had attacked. Moreover, Hong Luo did not look like an ordinary noble realm cultivator. Could the immortality god-sealing matrix withstand it? Boom! The entire Changsan mountain was shaking. After Hong Luo's punch landed, the immortality god-sealing matrix seemed to have been activated. The sky was filled with mysterious symbols. The sky changed color and thunder filled the air. It turned into a vast sea of thunder. The purple heavenly thunder, which was as thick as a bucket, was like a huge thunder dragon. It instantly destroyed Hong Luo's punch. The Changsan mountain shone brightly. The barrier shone brightly. Although it was shaking, Hong Luo's punch could not break the matrix. Moreover, the immortality god-sealing matrix was activated. The blazing sea of thunder seemed to have locked onto Hong Luo. If he dared to attack again, he would be completely killed. Damn it! How can a mere Changsan sect's protective matrix be so powerful? Hong Luo felt humiliated. He was furious and his eyes were filled with killing intent. The Grand Elders of the Sun Moon sect, the Wanshou sect, and the Underworld sect were also shocked. The power of the immortality god-sealing matrix was comparable to the protective matrix of the Four Holy Lands. It was even stronger. How could they not be shocked? The Sun God once said that the Changsan sect has a treasure of creation. It's extremely powerful. The Sun God did not have time to investigate it at that time. In my opinion, this so-called sect-protecting formation is only so terrifying because of the treasure of creation. Zhao Ang said coldly. There was a deep light in his eyes as if he could see through the Changsan mountain. Treasure of creation. The Changsan sect is so lucky. If the four of us attack together, I don't believe we can't break this protective matrix. The Grand Elder of the Wanshou sect said sternly. Chapter 413. Rumble. The four Grand Elders looked at each other and saw the determination in each other's eyes. Since they were here to show off their might, the four great sacred grounds would lose all face if they could not even break a mere great sect protection array. Four powerful auras shot up into the sky, causing the air to tremble slightly. Terrifying visions of the sun, the roaring of a tiger, the birth of a demon, and the blood sea of the underworld appeared on the four supreme elders. The four noble plane cultivators joined forces and launched an attack on the immortal god-sealing formation. They had given up on breaking the matrix with brute force. Instead, they were prepared to break the matrix with brute force. With the power of four noble plane cultivators, they were going to destroy the protective matrix. Before Nangong Xian and the others could even breathe a sigh of relief, they instantly became nervous again. Four noble plane cultivators attacked at the same time. The aura of controlling the will of heaven and earth was enough to make people tremble with fear. They almost couldn't help but kneel down. Everyone was silently anticipating that the longevity god-sealing array would be able to block it. Rumble. The boundless divine light collided with the barrier. In an instant, the sky shook and the longevity mountain began to tremble. It was like a magnitude 18 earthquake that swept across the land. Above the huge barrier, the light was extremely dazzling. Countless runes filled the air and flowed above the barrier, exuding a powerful defensive power. At the same time, the purple thunder sea exploded. Boundless heavenly thunder of purple heaven fell down like a thick mountain range towards the four noble plane cultivators. Every time he struck the formation, it was like a heavenly drum, causing the people from the Changsan sect to feel their blood boiling and they almost couldn't stand still. Fortunately, the longevity wind god array managed to block the combined attack of the four noble realm cultivators. The immortality divine seal matrix was reinforced by the sun himself. He said that it could defend against noble plane cultivators. I didn't believe it at first, but now it's an eye-opener. The great elder was extremely excited. His eyes were filled with excitement. That's right. With the grand array of longevity, what can the 4 great Holy Lands do? As long as the Holy Son doesn't die, he will live forever. Countless longevity sect disciples started to get excited. Many of them were suspicious and fearful at the beginning, but most of them were worried. Now, the sturdy longevity God's sealing formation gave them confidence and strength, allowing them to see that there would be a day when the longevity sect wasn't afraid of the so-called Holy Land of the martial Tao. Everyone consciously shouted, as long as the Saint's Son doesn't die, he will live forever. This was a firm belief, a fanatical worship without any reason. When Phoenix Maiden saw the fanatical expressions of the surrounding longevity sect disciples, she could not help but secretly click her tongue. I didn't expect Ling Xiao to be worshipped so much in the longevity sect. But that brat is really formidable. The so-called sect protecting Grand Array is actually able to withstand the combined attack of 4 great Grand Elders. The Phoenix Maiden knew how terrifying these 4 Supreme Elders were. Even if they were not as strong as the Yin Yang Lord and the others, they were not much weaker. It could be said that if the 4 of them worked together, even King Yin Yang, King Nirvana, and the others would have to suffer. He can always create miracles. Maybe in his hands, the longevity gate can really recover its glory from 10,000 years ago. Who can say for sure? The moon god smiled. There was a strange light in her eyes. Restore the glory of 10,000 years ago. Maybe, it's really possible. The Phoenix Maiden was shocked. 10,000 years ago, the longevity sect swept across the war god continent, leading all the heroes in the world. Even the supreme experts had to bow their heads to them. If it wasn't for the calamity 10,000 years ago, the longevity sect might still be a martial arts holy land that looked down on the 9 heavens and 10 lands. To restore the weak longevity sect to its glory from 10,000 years ago, it was no different from a fool's dream in the eyes of others. But to the Phoenix Maiden, with Ling Xiao around, it might really be possible. Unknowingly, the Phoenix Maiden began to acknowledge Ling Xiao. Rumble. The 4 noble realm experts continued to attack the longevity god's sealing Grand Array. But at this moment, the people of the longevity sect were no longer afraid or worried. They were filled with an inexplicable confidence. Damn it! What kind of sect protecting Grand Array is this? Why is it so terrifying? Zhao Ang said coldly. His face was ugly. The power of the longevity god's sealing Grand Array was beyond his imagination. Especially the purple heavenly thunder that filled the sky. It made him feel threatened. The 4 supreme elders were incomparably shocked. Their eyes revealed a trace of passion and greed. If what the sun god said was true, the reason why the longevity sect was so strong was because they had a creation realm treasure. If they could break through the sect protecting Grand Array, they must get that treasure. Just as the 4 supreme elders were attacking the Grand Array together, on the side of the underworld sect, there was a young man with a devilish face. He was wearing a black robe. He was tall and handsome, but there was a ghostly aura around him, making him look more feminine. He stood there with his hands behind his back. His eyes were like lightning, and there was a terrifying aura around him. It was terrifying. Ninth Saint, your eyes are really sharp. This Changsun sect is really not ordinary. The sect protection formation can actually withstand the joint attack of 4 supreme elders. It seems like this Changsun sect is really related to the Changsun sect from 10,000 years ago. Beside the devilish young man, there was a burly man in black armor and a ferocious mask. He held a heavenly halberd and said softly. This sect protecting Grand Array is not simple. I can feel that there is an earth-shattering treasure in the Longevity Mountain. It is because of that treasure that the sect protecting Grand Array is so strong. I want to see how many secrets this small longevity sect has. The ghostly fire in the Ninth Saint's eyes danced, shooting out mysterious light beams. He was looking at the back mountain of the longevity sect, where the path understanding tree was. Treasure. Even if there is a treasure, it will belong to the Ninth Saint in the end. But the plan in the longevity secret realm should have been completed. Why haven't those extraterrestrials appeared? The burly man asked. I am curious about this too. Maybe the seal in the longevity secret realm is too strong. Let's wait patiently for a few more days. A mere secret realm should not be able to stop those extraterrestrials. As long as they break through the seal, our trip will be complete. The ninth saint's eyes were filled with doubt, but he still spoke slowly. These grand elders are also trash. Ninth saint, do you need me to make a move and break this damn array formation? The burly man's eyes flashed, and he looked at the sect-protecting grand array. This sect-protecting grand array is not simple, but I can see its limit. It can only defend against a noble realm level 9 at most. Wu Chang, do it. Remember to be decisive. The ninth saint said calmly, as if he trusted the burly man named Wu Chang. Yes, sir. Wu Chang accepted the order. His eyes were filled with cruelty as he walked towards the longevity god-sealing array. Chapter 4:14. Lord Wu Chang, why are you here? When the Supreme Elder of the Underworld sect saw Wu Chang, he immediately smiled flatteringly and lowered his posture. A bunch of trash. It's been so long and you still haven't broken the array. The ninth saint is very unhappy. You can scram now. I'll break this array for you. Wu Chang sneered. He didn't care about the 4 Supreme Elders at all. Bastard! Who is this guy? How dare he be so arrogant? The faces of Zhao Ong and the other 2 turned cold, their eyes revealing their anger. Seeing the cruelty in Wu Chang's eyes, the Supreme Elder of the Underworld sect was shocked. He quickly stopped Zhao Ong and the other 2. My friends, Lord Wu Chang is from there. The Supreme Elder of the Underworld sect pointed to the south carefully. What? Zhao Ong and the other 2 were shocked. They immediately understood what he meant. The south only represented one place. The War God continent. This Impermanence Ghost General and the so-called Ninth Holy Sun actually came from the War God continent? Scram! The Impermanence Ghost General sneered as a terrifying aura emanated from him, causing the expressions of Zhao Ong and the others to change drastically. This aura was even stronger than the Yin Yang King, the Nirvana King, and the others, and it had faintly reached the barrier of the Monarch realm. This kind of terrifying expert could only exist in the War God continent. Zhao Ong and the other 2 were sweating profusely. They moved aside without saying a word. Why is there a new person? The appearance of the Impermanence Ghost General caused everyone from the Changsan sect to be taken aback as well. Who is this? Why are the Supreme Elders of the 4 sacred grounds so respectful to him? Nangong Xian keenly noticed the change in attitude of the 4 Grand Elders, and a bad premonition flashed in his heart. This person is so strong. He's even stronger than the sect master. Has he reached the peak of the noble realm? How can there be such a person in the 8 Desolates region? The moon god's eyes also showed a trace of surprise. She felt the terror of Wu Chang's aura. If Wu Chang broke the array, would the immortal god sealing array be able to withstand it? The Impermanence Ghost General stood in the air, his body surrounded by a dense ghostly aura. A black light shrouded the sky, and it was as if a scene of Azura hell had appeared behind him. Coupled with the ferocious mask on his face, he looked like a ghost king who had walked out of hell. All of you ants, listen up. Since you dare to resist so stubbornly, when I, the Ghost General, break the formation, no one in the Longevity sect will be spared. The Impermanence Ghost General's voice was incomparably cold, like a clap of thunder exploding in the void. Rumble. A vast and terrifying aura spread out, and the black divine light behind the Impermanence Ghost General was like an ocean. It was as if a door had been opened, and an endless amount of death energy poured out. The heavenly halberd in his hand began to vibrate and emit resplendent rays of light. Traces of symbols flashed, as if it had merged with the surrounding heaven and earth. This is a supreme-grade Dao weapon. Zhao Ong exclaimed in shock. His eyes were full of shock. In the entire 8 Desolates region, only the Purple Heaven Godly Sword of the Jade Lake sect was a supreme-grade Dao weapon. The power of a supreme-grade Dao weapon was unparalleled, and if it were to unleash its full power, it would be comparable to the power of a monarch realm expert. Zhaoang himself was only using a mid-grade Dao weapon. That was why he was so shocked when he saw that the Impermanence Ghost General's heavenly halberd was a supreme-grade Dao weapon. Looks like the Longevity Sect's Grand Protective Array is about to be broken. The Supreme Elder of the Underworld Sect's eyes were filled with excitement. Rumble. The Impermanence Ghost General stood in the void, his body exuding a terrifying aura. He raised the heavenly halberd in his hand, and a blazing light bloomed. It was as if countless runes had exploded in the void, and then condensed into a huge halberd shadow that was tens of thousands of feet long. The Impermanence Ghost General roared, and then the heavenly halberd came crashing down. A white light swept across heaven and earth, as if it had split the sky into two. It was incomparably terrifying. Boom! The barrier of the Longevity Great Array of Gods shook violently, and a vast aura erupted. Countless runes exploded, and the purple heaven godly lightning collided with the halberd shadow, releasing millions of divine lights. Crack! The barrier seemed to have reached its limit, and it shattered with a crack. What? Nangong Xian and all the disciples of the Longevity Sect were shocked. At this moment, the Impermanence Ghost General seemed to have transformed into a Ghost King. The power of his halberd was terrifying. The Longevity Great Array of Gods could not withstand the Impermanence Ghost General's halberd, and it shattered in an instant. The overwhelming aura spread out in all directions, and many of the disciples of the Longevity Sect turned pale, and they spat out mouthfuls of blood. The Longevity Great Array of Gods is broken. Nangong Xian's eyes revealed a trace of despair. Ling Xiao had used the Tree of Enlightenment as the eye of the array to rebuild the Longevity Great Array of Gods, and it had the power to resist a noble realm expert. However, the Impermanence Ghost General was too strong. His cultivation had already reached the pinnacle of the noble realm, and with the addition of the heavenly halberd, his attack had broken through the limits of the noble realm, and was comparable to the attack of a monarch realm expert. Therefore, the Longevity Great Array of Gods was undoubtedly broken. Above the void, many experts were also shocked by Impermanence Ghost General's halberd attack, especially the four Supreme Elders. Their eyes were filled with extreme fear. Even if the four of them worked together, they would not be able to withstand the Impermanence Ghost General's attack. I'll leave these people from the Longevity Sect to you. The Impermanence Ghost General's eyes revealed a trace of cruelty as he sneered. To him, the people from the Longevity Sect were just a bunch of ants that he could kill with a flip of his hand. After the Longevity Great Array of Gods was broken, the Ninth Saint's feeling grew stronger, and he flew towards the back of the Longevity Mountain. The Impermanence Ghost General quickly followed. The four Supreme Elders did not know what the Ninth Saint and the Impermanence Ghost General were going to do. Although they were confused, it was more important to find Ling Xiao's whereabouts. Instantly, many experts in the sky descended, and a cold aura filled the air. Murderous intent overflowed, and a bloody battle was inevitable. Second young master of the Longevity Sect, charge with me. As long as the saint is alive, he will live forever. Nangong Xian roared, and a trace of determination appeared in his eyes. He pulled out the long sword on his back, determined to fight to the death. As long as the saint is alive, he will live forever. As long as the saint is alive, he will live forever. All the saints of the Longevity Sect knew that they could not escape from this battle. Every one of them begged for mercy, and all of them roared as they took out their weapons. Their eyes were filled with hatred. The roars of the Longevity Sect's disciples shook the sky, and the people from the four sacred grounds were shocked. The unity of the Longevity Sect was indeed shocking, but unfortunately, the Longevity Sect was still too weak. Now that they were on the chopping block, the destruction of the Longevity Sect was inevitable. Chapter 4:15. How dare a bunch of ants roar at a divine dragon? Kill them all. Wash the Longevity Mountain with blood. Leave no one alive. Zhao Eng's eyes were filled with coldness. Stop. At this moment, an old man shouted angrily. The void in the distance rumbled as a huge void treasure ship flew over. On it stood a white-haired old man, a woman in white with a veil on her face, and a group of experts with extraordinary auras. The experts from Jade Lake sect had arrived. Whoosh! A blazing sword radiance pierced through the void like a rainbow and instantly pierced through the chest of a celestial realm expert, killing him. The white-haired woman in white with a veil on her face was extremely elegant. Her clothes fluttered in the wind as she held a purple ancient sword in her hand. She was like a fairy descending from the heavens. Sword will surged around her, making it hard for people to look at her directly. Whoever dares to touch the longevity sect will end up like this person. An ethereal and pleasant voice rang out. The peerless sword will with unparalleled sharpness stun the people from the 4 sacred grounds. She is, the Jade Lake King. Wasn't the Jade Lake King severely injured? She dares to come and help the longevity sect. The crowd exclaimed as they recognized the white-haired woman immediately. She was the sect master of Jade Lake sect, Ji Feishuan, known as the Jade Lake King. The 4 sacred grounds dare to bully a small sect. Do you have any shame? Today, with the Jade Lake sect here, no one is allowed to touch anyone from the longevity sect. Beside Ji Feishuan, the white-haired old man flew over and glared at the supreme elders of the 4 great sacred grounds. He was also a noble plain cultivator and a supreme elder of the Jade Lake sect. Ling Shao plotted against the patriarchs and grand elders of the 4 holy lands. He deserves to die 1,000 times over. The Changxing sect will definitely be destroyed today. If the Jade Lake sect dares to get involved in this mess, I will erase the Jade Lake sect from the 8 Desolates region. Zhao Ang said coldly. His eyes were filled with killing intent and he did not back down at all. The 4 grand elders came out together, exuding an aura that made the sky tremble. With the 4 of them working together, they feared no one in the noble plane. If Ji Feishuan was at her peak, they might be slightly fearful of the Purple Firmament Divine Sword and Purple Firmament Divine Sword Technique's Peerless Sword intent. However, Ji Feishuan's strength was greatly damaged now, so they did not take her seriously at all. Nangong Xian and the other disciples of the Changxin sect had hope and worry in their eyes. Although the Jade Lake sect's rescue had given them hope, how could the Jade Lake sect alone deal with the 4 holy lands? You want to remove the name of the Jade Lake sect? The great elder of the Jade Lake sect was also hot-tempered. His eyes flashed coldly. A red saber appeared in his hand. His whole body was filled with saber intent. The 4 of us will stop the Jade Lake King and this old man. The others will massacre the longevity sect. Since the Jade Lake sect is courting death, then from today onwards, the Jade Lake sect will be completely erased from existence. Zhao Ang's eyes were extremely cold. The 4 supreme elders looked at each other with blazing killing intent in their eyes as they charged towards Ji Feishuan and the supreme elder of the Jade Lake sect. Kill! Ji Feishuan did not say anything. Her eyes were extremely cold. The purple cloud godly sword in her hand shone brightly as she slashed towards Zhao Ang. The sharp sword intent pierced through the void and made Zhao Ang's scalp tingle. He did not dare to take the sword head-on. A black long stick appeared in his hand as he slashed towards Ji Feishuan. Demonic aura surged around Hong Luo as a long black banner appeared in his hand. He flipped it in the void and emitted a ghostly wail. A few giant demons flew out from the banner and charged towards Ji Feishuan. Bang! The purple cloud godly sword shone brightly as it collided with the long stick in Zhao Ang's hand. Sparks flew in all directions. At the same time, Ji Feishuan's body flashed as a few purple cloud thunderbolts pierced through the void like divine swords and slashed towards the giant demons. The giant demons looked illusory and had a terrifying aura. The purple cloud godly sword happened to be the nemesis of the giant demons. The thunderbolts swept across the sky and dispersed the demonic aura before finally slashing the giant demons into pieces. However, the banner in Hong Luo's hand flashed and those shattered giant devils instantly reappeared. Moreover, there was an endless stream of giant devils emerging from the banner, blotting out the sky and covering the earth as they charged at Ji Feishuan. Zhao Ong and Hong Luo's eyes were filled with murderous intent. If it was any other time, they would not dare to fight Ji Feishuan even if they joined forces. However, Ji Feishuan was severely injured and her strength was greatly reduced. She could only unleash the combat strength of a noble. If it was not for the purple cloud godly sword in her hand, she would not be their match at all. Ji Feishuan's face was pale but her eyes were extremely sharp. In the secret realm of longevity, Ling Xiao tricked Lord Yin Yang and the others. Ji Feishuan was also tricked by Ling Xiao. Before Ling Xiao could cure Ji Feishuan's poison, the extraterrestrial demons broke free. Therefore, after Ji Feishuan left the secret realm of longevity and consumed the healing elixir from the Jade Lake sect, she only managed to refine half of the poison in her body. Her strength was not fully recovered and she only had 30% to 40% of her peak strength. Therefore, Ji Feishuan was having a hard time facing Zhao Ong and Hong Luo. Rumble. On the other side, the Supreme Elder of the Jade Lake sect was also stopped by the Supreme Elders of the Wanshou sect and the Underworld sect. The three of them fought fiercely. Terrifying divine light exploded and waves of air surged. It was difficult to determine the winner. Kill. The experts from the four great saint lands charged towards the people from the Changsun sect. The people from the Jade Lake sect did not want to be outdone and they fought with the experts from the four great saint lands. The entire Longevity Mountain had turned into a huge battlefield. Countless rocks flew everywhere, and huge ancient trees were reduced to dust. Even the sky was shaking. After all, there were too many experts from the four great saint lands. Many of them broke through the blockade of the Jade Lake sect and charged downwards. Hundreds of experts charged over. They were all at least in the celestial realm. Their auras were cold and their eyes were filled with killing intent. The overwhelming aura shrouded over and many of the Changsun sect's disciples were shocked. Ancestral Master, please kill the enemies. Nangong Xian formed a seal with his hands. A bright light shot out and imprinted on the devouring sky supreme statue. Rumble. A vast, mysterious, ancient and majestic aura erupted. On the Longevity Square, the divine statue of the Sky Devourer Prime suddenly opened its eyes. Two resplendent beams of divine light pierced through the void like sharp swords. Swish! Swish! The two divine lights were too bright. In an instant, they pierced through the glabella of the two celestial realm experts. Blood mist filled the void and the two celestial realm experts disappeared without a trace. What? The experts from the four great saint lands trembled. They felt as if they were being stared at by an immemorial ferocious beast. Rumble. The devouring sky supreme statue moved. A huge fist swept across the sky and released millions of rays of light. It suppressed the experts from the four great saint lands. It was as if the entire world was in the fist. The dozens of celestial realm experts did not even make a sound before they were blasted apart by the fist. Many of the Changsun sect's disciples were stunned. Then, they erupted into wild cheers. Nangong Xian clenched his fists. He was extremely excited. Chapter 4:16. Boom! 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 The sky-devouring supreme statue's attacks were not fast. In fact, they were very slow. However, there was a strange rhythm to them as if the entire world was under its control. Every time it punched out, a few celestial realm experts would explode. They did not even have time to scream. In the blink of an eye, hundreds of celestial realm experts had died in the hands of the sky-devouring supreme statue. Above the void, blood mist swirled and filled the air. It was as if the peak of the Longevity Mountain had turned into Azura hell. In the end, the experts from the four sacred grounds began to tremble in fear. They ran for their lives as their eyes were filled with terror. They did not expect a stone statue to come back to life. Moreover, it could unleash the power of a noble realm expert. It was extremely terrifying. A bunch of trash. You can't even deal with a statue. The ninth saint and impermanence ghost general returned. When they saw the scene of the sky-devouring supreme statue slaughtering so many experts, their faces darkened. They had headed to the forbidden zone in the back mountain, wanting to find the treasures within the forbidden zone. However, Ling Xiao had long since set up a formidable magic array within the forbidden zone. This magic array was even more terrifying compared to the great array of longevity and God Seal. Not even the impermanence ghost general could break through it. Therefore, the two of them were prepared to capture a few of the higher-ups of the longevity sect and interrogate them on how to enter the forbidden area. However, when they returned, they saw the disciples of the four sacred grounds being slaughtered. Impermanence, use my heaven measuring rope to tie up this statue. This sky-devouring supreme statue must be a treasure left behind by the longevity sect 10,000 years ago. It might even contain the inheritance of the sky-devouring supreme. The ninth saint's eyes lit up. With a flash of light, a golden rope appeared in his hand. It emitted a mysterious light. Also, I want that woman. Capture her. The ninth saint also saw Ji Feishuan at the same time. His eyes lit up as he gave the order. Yes. Impermanence ghost general responded. He took the heaven measuring rope from the ninth saint and swung it in the air. Like a golden dragon, it charged towards the sky-devouring supreme statue. Rumble. The divine statue punched out and the massive fist imprint landed on the heaven measuring rope. However, the heaven measuring rope was as slippery as a loach. With a flash of light, it appeared around the divine statue and tied up the divine statue of heaven devouring supreme. At the same time, the Anika ghost general took a step forward and slashed his square sky halberd at Ji Feishuan. Ji Feishuan's eyes revealed a trace of seriousness. The violet heaven divine sword had forced Zhao Ong and Hong Luo to retreat. There was no way for them to dodge and they could only face the halberd head-on. Sparks flew in all directions as the halberd and sword clashed. An unparalleled divine force erupted as the violet firmament godly sword buzzed. Ji Feishuan was instantly pushed back several dozen meters. Her face turned pale as she spat out a mouthful of blood. It's your honor that my holy son has taken a liking to you. Come over here. Anika ghost general's expression was indifferent as he reached out with his palm. Kill. Ji Feishuan's gaze turned colder. She wiped the blood from the corner of her mouth and purple lightning flashed around her body. Some kind of energy seemed to have awakened within the violet heaven divine sword. Dazzling sword intent gathered and like a divine rainbow, it traversed the void and slashed towards the Anika ghost general. You're no match for me. I advise you to stop wasting your time. Anika ghost general said indifferently as he slashed his square sky halberd at Ji Feishuan. Unparalleled halberd radiance shook the sky as the two figures crossed each other in the void. After just a few moves, Ji Feishuan was in a dangerous situation. On the other side, after the sky-devouring supreme statue was bound by the heaven-measuring rope, the experts from the four great saint lands were reignited. Their eyes were filled with hatred as they pounced towards the people from the longevity sect. Fight to the death. Nangong Xian's eyes revealed a trace of determination. He knew that this battle was unavoidable. He and Li Ling looked at each other and exuded a terrifying energy as they charged towards the experts from the four great saint lands with their swords. However, the four great saint lands only sent out celestial realm experts this time. On the other hand, only Nangong Xian and Li Ling were in the celestial realm from the longevity sect. They were not on the same level at all. As soon as the battle started, more than 10 disciples from the longevity sect were blasted to death. They howled miserably as they died in the hands of the four great saint lands. Nangong Xian and Li Ling's eyes turned red as they fought with all their might. However, they were instantly surrounded by a few powerful celestial realm experts. They were at a disadvantage and were in a precarious situation. On the longevity mountain, shouts and screams shook the sky. Countless experts were engaged in an intense battle that shook the heavens and earth. The ninth saint stood in the sky with his hands behind his back as he looked at the intense battle below. His eyes were indifferent and proud, as if he was a god that ruled over the life and death of all living beings. When Ling Xiao and the old goat crushed the longevity token and left the longevity's secret realm, they appeared at the foot of the longevity mountain. Ling Xiao's expression changed instantly when he heard the intense battle sounds coming from the longevity mountain. Damn it, I want to see who dares to behave so atrociously in the longevity sect. Ling Xiao's body exuded a strong murderous aura. His eyes were sharp as he leaped up and turned into a ray of golden light as he flew towards the longevity mountain. There are experts of the noble realm? Hee, today is a great day for me to become famous in the 8 Desolation region. Wait for me to come and take your heads. The old goat laughed coldly. His eyes were filled with eagerness as he chased after Ling Xiao. The more anxious Ling Xiao was, the colder his eyes became. Especially when he sensed that the longevity god's sealing array was broken, the anger in his eyes seemed to burn the heavens. On the longevity mountain, without the obstruction of the sky-devouring supreme statue, the experts of the 4 great saint lands charged towards the disciples of the longevity sect. They slaughtered mercilessly. Nangong Xian and Li Ling were surrounded by a few celestial realm experts. Although Nangong Qing, Jian Wuk, Deng Yalan and the other true disciples fought with all their might, how could they be a match for the celestial realm experts? Soon, everyone was in imminent danger. Die, all of you. When Ling Xiao flew to the top of the longevity mountain, he saw the disciples of the longevity sect being slaughtered by the 4 great saint lands. His eyes turned red instantly. He let out a loud roar, and the golden divine light around his body was dazzling. Monstrous blood qi shot up into the sky, and a golden divine dragon rose from behind Ling Xiao. It carried a monstrous dragon's might and swept toward the cultivators of the 4 great holy lands. Boom! 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 Ling Xiao attacked with all his might in a fit of rage. Although the golden dragon was only formed from qi and blood, it was like a real dragon descending into the world, bursting with boundless power. In an instant, more than a dozen celestial realm warriors were hit by the golden dragon, their bodies exploding into a bloody mist. Open! Ling Xiao bellowed. He formed a seal with both hands and a dazzling divine light shot towards the sky-devouring supreme idol. A terrifying power seemed to have awakened within the idol. The blazing radiance swept out in all directions. The runes on the heaven measuring rope that bound the idol exploded and were destroyed by the idol. Who are you? Everyone was stunned. The eyes of the experts of the 4 great saint lands were cold. They were shocked and angry as they asked loudly. Ling Xiao from the longevity sect. A cold voice exploded in the void. A bright figure appeared at the top of the longevity mountain like the sun. He emitted a vast and powerful aura. The young man was dressed in white and his black hair fluttered in the wind. His eyes were like lightning. He walked down from the sky, exuding a peerless aura. Instantly, the longevity mountain was in an uproar. Chapter 4:17. It's the Holy Sun. The Holy Sun is back. The Holy Sun is invincible. Kill these beasts. The Holy Sun will definitely avenge us. On the longevity mountain, many elders and disciples of the longevity sect were in an uproar. The experts from the 4 sacred grounds attacked at the same time. Without the protection of the sky-devouring supreme god statue, the longevity sect's disciples suffered heavy casualties. Blood dyed the longevity mountain red. Everyone was almost in despair. The 4 great saint lands were so powerful. Was the longevity sect going to be wiped out today? However, Ling Xiao's appearance instantly gave everyone hope. Ling Xiao was like an omnipotent god, making everyone's blood boil with excitement. Young master is back. I knew he would be fine. Shui Wei wiped the blood off her face. She held the long sword in her hand tightly and smiled. She looked at the young man in the sky with pride and admiration. Nan Gongqing, Deng Yalan, Jian Wuk and the other disciples of the longevity sect cheered loudly. As for the experts of the 4 great saint lands, their faces changed drastically. They were terrified. The moment Ling Xiao attacked, the experts of the four great saint lands were slaughtered as if they were grass. Moreover, the sky-devouring supreme statue broke free from the restraint of the heaven-measuring rope. It emitted a terrifying aura that made the experts of the four great saint lands lose their will to fight. Their faces were filled with fear. Ling Xiao. A cold glint flashed in the eyes of the four supreme elders, and they all revealed looks of incomparable hatred. The four great saint lands had suffered heavy losses in the longevity secret territory. Countless disciples and elders had died. Even the four great kings had died. Ling Xiao was definitely involved. The four grand elders' hatred for Ling Xiao had already reached its peak. Ling Xiao, you dare to appear? Go to hell. Zhao Ong and Hong Luo gave up on attacking Ji Feishuan. Their eyes were cold and filled with killing intent as they charged towards Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao, let's take one each. Let's see who can kill these two old men first. What do you think? The old goat was eager to give it a try. His eyes were filled with excitement. After saying that, he did not wait for Ling Xiao's agreement. He immediately charged forward like a black lightning bolt. His huge hooves emitted a monstrous divine aura. He was like a mountain that pressed down on Hong Luo. Bastard, you're courting death. Hong Luo's face turned cold. He saw clearly that it was an old goat that was about the size of a calf. Its black fur was glossy and shiny, and it had a human-like smile on its face. The goat's hooves were aimed directly at Hong Luo's forehead. Hong Luo was infuriated. A black saber appeared in his hand and he slashed down. Clang! When the goat's hoof landed on the saber, an unparalleled divine power erupted, causing sparks to fly in all directions. Hong Luo felt his arm go numb, and the saber in his hand almost flew out of his hand. His face instantly changed. After truly exchanging blows with it, he noticed that the old goat was actually like a primordial ferocious beast, and it emanated an aura that caused his entire body to go numb. Hong Luo was forced back several steps. The battle blade in his hand shone with resplendent runes. This was a powerful Dao item. He slashed down at the old goat. Boom! A snow-white blade radiance erupted, and the old goat was actually shattered by Hong Luo's blade. However, there was no trace of joy on Hong Luo's face. His expression instantly changed as he felt a strong wind coming from behind him. It turned out that the old goat had circled behind Hong Luo, and its hoof landed on the back of Hong Luo's head. Hong Luo felt as if his head had been trampled by 10,000 cows. He saw stars and felt the world spinning around him. He was about to fall from the void. Boom! Hong Luo's chest was hit by another hoof, and his ribs were instantly broken. He spat out a mouthful of blood and flew back. Old bastard, you dare to fight with me with such a weak cultivation? The old goat snickered, and its eyes darted around. It looked very cunning. After Ling Xiao taught it the secret teleportation technique, it was like a tiger that had grown wings. It became even more wretched in battle, and specialized in sneak attacks from behind. On the other side, Zhaoang met Ling Xiao head-on. Little bastard, today I'll make you pay with your life for the sect leader and the sun god. Zhao Ang's eyes were cold, and his killing intent was almost tangible. A boundless aura was emitted from his body, and it was as if flames were rising, wanting to burn Ling Xiao to ashes. Since you want to see them so much, I'll fulfill your wish. I'll send you to see the lords of Yin Yang and the sun god. Ling Xiao's eyes were cold. His body emitted a golden glow, and his vast qi and blood soared into the sky, shaking the firmament. Third level of the celestial realm? He looks good, but he dares to say that he wants to kill Elder Zhaoang. I think this kid is tired of living. The eyes of the cultivators from the four holy lands flashed. They had all seen through Ling Xiao's cultivation, and their faces were filled with coldness and disdain. Even if Ling Xiao was extremely talented, the gap between the celestial realm and the noble realm was too big. Ling Xiao was no match for Zhaoang. Nangong Xian and the others were excited about Ling Xiao's appearance, but they were also worried. They did not know if Ling Xiao could continue to create miracles. The noble realm was a word that made one's heart tremble. It represented strength and invincibility, and was the pinnacle of the 8 Desolation region. Ling Xiao's cultivation of the 3rd level of the celestial realm was shocking, but it was nothing compared to the noble realm. Ling Xiao, go to hell! Zhaoang roared. Flames rose from his body. Behind him, there seemed to be a sun rising in the sky, making the world tremble. It rumbled and pressed down on Ling Xiao. This was the true art of the sun. When Zhaoang used it with his cultivation of the noble realm, he could control the will of the world. Thousands of flames surrounded him, and it was more than 100 times more powerful than the sun god. Rumble. An extremely hot light radiated from the void. The sun came across the sky, as if it was the sun from the 9 heavens falling on the Longevity Mountain. It was vast and unparalleled, as if it was going to burn everything. Kill! Ling Xiao's eyes were cold, and there were golden flames around him. He punched out, and the world rumbled. There seemed to be the entrance of the 6 paths world spinning behind him, spewing out endless light and crushing toward Zhaoang's 6 paths reincarnation style. Ling Xiao used the 3rd style of the 7 limits godly kung fu, swallowing heaven and destroying earth. It was also the strongest power that Ling Xiao could control at the moment. Ling Xiao activated the sky-devouring mystic skill and the ancestral dragon mystic skill at the same time. The qi and blood around him condensed into golden divine dragons. With the power of the 6 paths of reincarnation, they spun the world and suppressed Chaoyang. This was Ling Xiao's unreserved punch. He used the 6 paths reincarnation style to drive the invincible body of the flying dragon. At the same time, he burst out the violent dragon superpower, which elevated his punch to the extreme. Rumble. The world trembled, and the towering ancient trees and giant rocks were instantly shattered into dust by the violent sound waves. Everyone saw that the sun that Zhaoang condensed exploded in an instant. Endless divine light gushed out, and the sky shook. The cultivators of the 4 holy lands, who were far away, spat out a mouthful of blood at the same time, and their faces turned pale. Chapter 4:18. How is this possible? The experts from the 4 sacred grounds looked as if they had seen a ghost. They could not believe what they were seeing. Ling Xiao's punch had surpassed the limit of the celestial being realm and was comparable to the power of the noble realm. The 9th saint stood in the void with a look of shock in his eyes. Vast dragon aura and heavenly fist. What kind of martial arts is this? Could it be that Ling Xiao really obtained the inheritance of the legendary heaven-devouring supreme? The 9th saint's eyes shone with greed. The fact that Ling Xiao could control the sky-devouring supreme divine statue and break the heaven-measuring rope already made the 9th saint suspicious. However, Ling Xiao was able to unleash such terrifying power with only the cultivation of the celestial being realm. He must have an earth-shattering supreme martial arts. The 9th saint did not care about the so-called sacred grounds of martial arts in the entire 8 Desolation region. The only thing he coveted was the Changsun sect that dominated the world 10,000 years ago. Sky-devouring supreme, the #1 supreme in the world. Just this title alone was enough to make the 9th saint greedy for his martial arts. Boom! After the sun exploded, Zhaoang was sent flying dozens of feet away by an unparalleled divine force. His blood was in turmoil and his eyes were filled with shock and disbelief. How can this little bastard have such terrifying combat strength? Zhaoang could not figure it out. His face was extremely ugly. He felt that Ling Xiao was like a true dragon in human form. His terrifying physical strength seemed to be able to shatter the heavens. However, before Zhaoang could think further, Ling Xiao had already passed through the blazing divine light and was charging towards Zhaoang. The power of the body of the flying dragon was fully unleashed. Ling Xiao's physical strength alone was enough to destroy a noble realm expert. Moreover, he had also used the 6 paths of reincarnation and the violent dragon's superpower. Ling Xiao's eyes were extremely cold and emotionless. He was like a true dragon looking down at an ant. Zhao Ong could not help but tremble. "Little bastard, do you think I'm afraid of you?" Zhao Ong gritted his teeth and the power of heaven and earth surged around him. He slammed his palm towards Ling Xiao. The huge palm print was like an ancient sacred mountain that wanted to suppress everything. Boom! Ling Xiao smashed Zhao Ang's palm print with a simple punch. His body seemed to have teleported and appeared beside Zhao Ong. 5 elements heaven sealing style. The 5-colored divine light behind Ling Xiao shot into the sky and instantly turned into a 5 elements bounded domain. It locked Zhao Ong in the bounded domain and began to deprive him of the power of heaven and earth. Zhao Ong felt as if he was being rejected by the heaven and earth. His complexion changed instantly, and a sense of fear began to grow in his heart. Noble plane cultivators looked strong, but that was mainly because they had condensed the martial arts primordial spirit and could control the will of heaven and earth. When they attacked, it was as if heaven and earth were suppressing everything. However, Ling Xiao's martial Dao primordial spirit was stronger than Zhao Ang's. Furthermore, he had sealed the will of heaven and earth with the 5 elements heaven sealing style. Coupled with Ling Xiao's unparalleled physical strength, how could Zhao Ong resist? The third punch, die. Ling Xiao's voice was indifferent. His eyes contained an unparalleled sharpness. He threw a punch towards Zhao Ong, as if there was a vast dragon roaring in the sky. "I can't accept this," Zhao Ong roared. His body was surrounded by flames. The unparalleled divine light was like a sword chi that swept in all directions, trying to break the 5 elements heaven sealing style's bounded domain. Ling Xiao's punch gave him so much pressure that Zhao Ong felt as if he was about to suffocate. However, he had no chance at all. Boom! The sword chi that filled the sky was swept away. Those blazing flames were unable to have any effect on Ling Xiao. The dazzling punch came across the sky, directly smashing the defensive treasure on Zhao Ang's body. Then, without slowing down, it blasted on Zhao Ang's chest. Heaven and earth seemed to be silent at this moment. Zhao Ang's body was directly blasted into a mist of blood by Ling Xiao's punch. He disappeared in front of everyone's eyes. A spiritual light floated up. It was Zhao Ang's primordial spirit. He wanted to escape, but was immediately bound by a golden light and sucked into the sky-devouring golden lotus. Zhao Ong, the highest elder of the Sun Luna sect, was dead. The Longevity Mountain was silent. Everyone could even hear the sound of their own heartbeats. Just a moment ago, everyone thought that Ling Xiao was no match for Zhao Ong. But in the next moment, Ling Xiao only threw out 3 punches and Zhao Ong was blown up by Ling Xiao. A cultivator of the noble plane was killed by Ling Xiao, leaving nothing behind. This scene shocked everyone to the core. After a short moment of shock, the people of the Longevity sect burst into thunderous cheers. That was a noble realm expert, but he was killed by Ling Xiao just like that. At this moment, Ling Xiao was wearing a white robe. He stood in the sky and was surrounded by golden divine dragons. His eyes were like the starry sky. He was like a peerless god of war, attracting everyone's attention. He killed Elder Zhao Ong with 3 punches. His combat strength is getting more and more terrifying. He wants to change the 8 Desolation region. Phoenix Girl sighed softly. Her eyes were filled with splendor. Hasn't the 8 Desolation region already changed? Moon Goddess smiled faintly. At this moment, Ling Xiao's sharp senses sensed someone's gaze on him. It was hot and greedy. Ling Xiao looked over. The person in the distance was the 9th saint. Their gazes collided in the void. The light was dazzling. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. The 9th saint with a demonic face was actually a noble realm expert. He even made Ling Xiao feel slightly threatened. He's not from the 8 Desolation region. Could he be from the War God continent? Ling Xiao's heart skipped a beat. A sharp light flashed in his eyes. Ling Xiao finished the battle so quickly. Old bastard, I don't have time to play with you anymore. Ling Xiao killed Xiaoang in 3 punches, which gave the old goat a fright. Then, he looked at Hung Luo maliciously and rushed forward. The old goat's combat strength was unfathomable. The few hooves from before had already made Hung Luo's scalp numb. He had lost all will to fight and was still dizzy. At this moment, the old goat rushed over like a bolt of black lightning. A terrifying black vortex swept across the sky and fell on Hung Luo. It began to devour Hung Luo's genuine qi, flesh, and primordial spirit. A miserable cry came to an abrupt end. Hung Luo was sucked dry by the old goat with the sky-devouring secret skill. The death of the 2 supreme elders made the supreme elders of the Wanshou sect and the underworld sect pale. They left the battlefield and came to the 9th saint and the impermanence ghost general's side. Their eyes were filled with fear. They were already shocked that Ling Xiao killed Xiaoang with 3 punches. In the end, the old goat beside Ling Xiao was like an ancient demon that devoured Hung Luo. This made their scalp numb and they lost all will to fight. On the other side, Ji Feishuan was in danger in the hands of the impermanence ghost general. Although the purple cloud godly sword was powerful, Ji Feishuan's strength had been greatly reduced. She was no match for the impermanence ghost general. Rumble. The gigantic halberd emitted a monstrous divine radiance as it slashed down toward Ji Feishuan. You're courting death. Ling Xiao's eyes were filled with killing intent. He leaped into the sky and the sky-devouring sword appeared in his hand. It emitted an unparalleled sharpness and slashed towards the sky piercer. A shocking sword essence burst out in a mighty manner. Chapter 419. Boom! The sky-devourer sword shone brightly and a blazing radiance was awakened. It clashed with the halberd and instantly released a vast divine light that swept across the surroundings like a tidal wave. Although the sword spirit of the sky-devourer sword had disappeared, it was still a peerless divine weapon in Ling Xiao's previous life. Its material was even more precious than the halberd and it contained a peerless sword intent that could devour the heavens and earth. The impermanence ghost general's expression changed as he felt the halberd in his hand vibrating as though it was heavily injured. He instantly retreated a few dozen feet back. Ling Xiao also used this force to retreat. At the same time, he carried Ji Feishuan and left the battlefield. Are you alright? Ling Xiao looked at Ji Feishuan in his arms and smiled. At this moment, Ji Feishuan's face was very pale. Her face was covered by a veil, revealing her smooth skin and jade-like bones. Her eyes were especially bright as she looked at Ling Xiao with a peerless smile. Isn't it because of you? Otherwise, how could I have ended up like this? Ji Feishuan's light voice sounded with a hint of coquettishness, causing Ling Xiao's heart to skip a beat. He knew what Ji Feishuan was talking about. If it wasn't for Ling Xiao's spirit devourer pill, Ji Feishuan wouldn't have been so severely injured by the impermanence ghost general. Hee, your majesty, I'll detoxify your poison now. Ling Xiao chuckled as a surge of heaven-devouring true qi rushed into Ji Feishuan's body and detoxified the poison of the spirit devourer pill in her dantian. The spirit devourer pill was formed by Ling Xiao's heaven-devouring true qi. It was extremely difficult for others to detoxify it, but it was very easy for Ling Xiao. Boom! Without the restriction of the spirit-engulfing pill's poison, a powerful aura was emitted from Ji Feishuan's body. The boundless heaven and earth essence was absorbed into her body. Ji Feishuan's face also began to turn rosy. You're Ling Xiao. You're only in the heaven realm and you're actually able to withstand my halberd. You're quite capable. The impermanence ghost general glared at Ling Xiao and said coldly. However, his heart wasn't as calm as he looked on the surface. A heaven realm cultivator was able to withstand his halberd. Such a person was considered one of the top peerless geniuses even in the war god continent. How could there be such a monster in the barren 8 regions? Who the hell are you? Since you dared to offend my Changsun sect, then all of you shall stay here today. Ling Xiao's gaze was incomparably sharp as he spoke in a domineering manner. If Ghost General Wu Chang and the Ninth Saint were from the War God continent, then Ling Xiao thought of the Yellow Springs Rising Dragon formation in the Longevity Mystic Realm and the strange changes in the Underworld sect. Ling Xiao naturally did not have a good impression of them. Killing intent surged in his heart. Brat, how dare you be so arrogant? This general wants to see what ability you have to make this general stay. The Impermanence Ghost General was so angry that he laughed, his eyes revealing a trace of coldness. Boom! The heavenly halberd paused in the air for a moment. Instantly, a powerful sound wave spread out towards the sky. The surrounding rocks and trees were turned into dust by the sound wave. Where did this brat come from? You dare to show off in front of me? Before Ling Xiao could make a move, the old goat had already stepped forward. Black light surged around the old goat's body like a black vortex, instantly swallowing the sound waves. The old goat was not satisfied after killing Hong Luo previously. Now that he saw an even stronger Impermanence Ghost General, the old goat was eager to give it a try. He could not let Ling Xiao steal all the limelight. Today's battle would let the world know the old goat's name, the heaven-devouring Great Emperor. You are Ling Xiao. The Ninth Saint stopped the enraged Impermanence Ghost General and slowly walked over from the void. He looked down at the clouds with an invisible air of arrogance. I am Ling Xiao. You are the mastermind behind the 4 Sacred Grounds attack on the Changsan Mountain today, right? Ling Xiao's eyes flashed as he spoke indifferently. That's right, it's me. A mere ant like the Changsan Mountain can be destroyed with a wave of my hand. However, I have changed my mind. As long as you give me your martial arts and the sword in your hand, as well as kneel down and submit to me, I can spare your life. The Ninth Saint said indifferently as he looked at the heaven-devouring sword with a hint of passion in his eyes. He thought of a certain legend, and when he saw the heaven-devouring supreme statue below, his heart was burning with passion. If the heaven-devouring sword in Ling Xiao's hand was really that legendary treasure, then it would be the Ninth Saint's greatest gain from this trip. Ling Xiao was stunned for a moment before a mocking smile appeared on his face. Who do you think you are? You want my martial arts and ancient sword? Are you worthy? This so-called Ninth Saint was really someone from the War God continent. He had sharp eyes and could tell that Ling Xiao's martial arts and heaven-devouring sword were extraordinary. How dare you? Ling Xiao, the Ninth Saint is a peerless prodigy of the War God continent. The power behind him is not something you can imagine. How dare you be so rude to the saint? Kneel down and accept your death. The Grand Elder of the Underworld sect shouted at Ling Xiao with a venomous look in his eyes. A peerless prodigy of the War God continent? Nangong Xian and the others shuddered. Even the experts from the 4 great holy lands were shocked beyond belief. Legend had it that the War God continent was the center of this world, where experts and geniuses gathered. The strongest people in the 8 Desolation region were only those in the noble realm. On the War God continent, it was said that nobles were everywhere, and emperors were no better than dogs. Only the mighty supremes were the top experts of the War God continent. No wonder the Ninth Saint looked so young and had such an unfathomable cultivation. He was a peerless prodigy of the War God continent. That can't be, right? The 8 Desolation region and the War God continent are separated by the endless reincarnation ocean. It is said that there is no life in the reincarnation ocean. Why would someone from the War God continent come to our small 8 Desolation region? Some people were shocked and found it hard to believe. Boom! The Ninth Saint stood with his hands clasped behind his back as if in agreement with the words of the Supreme Elder of the Underworld sect. His body exuded an aura that seemed to dominate the world. It was vast and unparalleled. That overwhelming aura caused everyone's expression to change drastically. A noble realm expert. He's even stronger than the Grand Elders. Everyone's eyes were filled with incomparable reverence. To have such a cultivation at such a young age, he was definitely not someone the small 8 Desolation region could nurture. At this moment, the Ninth Saint stood in the air. His black hair fluttered in the wind. His figure was slender and handsome, and his face was devilishly handsome. It was as if he had become the center of the world. He carried an indescribable pride and spirit. Ling Xiao, your talent is extraordinary. If you are willing to hand over your martial arts and ancient sword and submit to me, I will bring you to the War God continent and let you join the real sacred ground of martial arts. What do you think? Chapter 420. You should know that the holy land of martial arts on the War God continent isn't something that you self-proclaimed holy lands can compare to. What is a holy land of martial arts? Only with a supreme expert overseeing the world and establishing a 10,000-year-old orthodoxy could it be called a holy land of martial arts. A mere noble realm cultivator doesn't even have the right to start a sect on the War God continent. The ninth saint's words made the faces of the people from the 4 sacred grounds turn red. Compared to the War God continent, the 8 Desolates region was like a frog at the bottom of a well. Is the War God continent that great? Ling Xiao sneered. The 8 Desolates region was the center of this world 10,000 years ago. The Changsun sect was the strongest holy land of martial arts in this world 10,000 years ago. Even the supremes had to bow down to them. The Changsun sect has inherited the legacy of our founder. We will rule the world one day. What's the power behind you? Can you compare to the Changsun sect 10,000 years ago? If you can't, do you think you can make me submit? Ling Xiao's words made the ninth saint's face darken. Very well, Ling Xiao. Since you refuse a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit, then I can only slaughter your Changsun sect and tear you to pieces. I hope you won't kneel and beg for mercy later. The ninth saint's voice was extremely cold. Being scolded by Ling Xiao made him very angry. He felt that he had lost a lot of face, and in his anger, he had a strong desire to kill Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao, what bullshit ninth saint? So what if you're from the War God continent? Watch this emperor slaughter this little demon. The old goat couldn't hold it in anymore. He sneered and charged at the impermanence ghost general. Bastard, you're courting death. The impermanence ghost general's eyes turned cold. Although he was surprised that the old goat had killed Hong Luo, the impermanence ghost general was furious that the old goat had overestimated himself and wanted to provoke him. He swung his halberd at the old goat. Everyone, charge. Today, I'll wipe out the Changsun sect. The ninth saint said with a cold expression. With the ninth saint's order, the grand elders of the underworld sect and Wanshou sect, as well as the rest of the 4 holy lands, seemed to have gained some confidence. They roared and charged at the Changsun sect. Ling Xiao, since you're not convinced, I'll beat you until you're convinced. The ninth saint's eyes flashed coldly as he threw a punch at Ling Xiao. Crack! Black lightning flashed in the sky. The ninth saint's aura was violent, and a huge ancient tomb seemed to appear behind him. Endless death qi gushed out like a heavenly monument pressing down on Ling Yun. Kill! Ling Xiao's eyes also revealed a strong fighting spirit. The dragon's might around him spread, and he clenched his invincible fist and went up to meet the attack. Boom! Ling Xiao's fist was glowing with golden light. It was like an angry vajra. When it landed on the sky steel, it exploded with dazzling divine light and destroyed the sky steel. Emperor Tomb Fist. A cold voice sounded. The ninth saint's fist swept across the sky like the fist of a great emperor, as if it was going to destroy everything. It contained unparalleled divine might. Emperor Tomb Fist. As expected, they are from the Emperor Tomb Mountain Holy Land. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. He had already guessed that the Yellow Springs Rising Dragon Formation was the sect-protecting formation of the Emperor Tomb Mountain. Now that he saw the ninth saint use the Emperor Tomb Fist, he naturally understood the ninth saint's identity. The Emperor Tomb Mountain's sect-guarding martial art was the Emperor Tomb Supreme Sutra. Legend has it that when cultivated to the peak, one would have a trace of the ancient emperor's strength. It could destroy heaven and earth, and its might was unparalleled. Emperor Tomb Mountain dares to covet the 8 Desolates region? Damn it! The murderous intent in Ling Xiao's eyes burned fiercely as his blood boiled. The power of the body of the flying dragon exploded. Ling Xiao punched out like a dragon, shrouded in golden lightning as he fought with the ninth saint. The ninth saint looked like he had just entered the noble plane, but he had cultivated the Emperor's Tomb Supreme Sutra, so his strength was unparalleled. He was far from what the supreme elders of the four sacred grounds could compare to. The Emperor's Tomb Fist was incomparably murderous. It was like an eternal Emperor's tomb in the primordial chaos, wanting to bury all living things. Rumble. Ling Xiao and the ninth saint exchanged dozens of punches in an instant. Unparalleled wind swept across the void. They were actually evenly matched. How is this possible? Could he have really obtained the inheritance of the sky-devouring supreme? The ninth saint's heart was in turmoil. He was incomparably shocked. At the same time, he was even more convinced that Ling Xiao might have obtained the inheritance of the sky-devouring supreme. Otherwise, how could a mere celestial being be a match for the ninth holy sun? One had to know that although the supreme elder of the underworld sex cultivation was a few levels higher than the ninth saint, he couldn't even last 3 moves in the ninth saint's hands. This made the ninth holy sun even more certain of his thoughts. As long as he killed Ling Xiao and obtained his inheritance, his status in the Emperor Tomb Mountain would definitely rise greatly. Emperor Tomb Fist, Emperor Annihilation 8 Desolates. The ninth saint roared, and the black divine light around him boiled. He punched out, and it was as vast as the sea. He was like a great emperor who looked down on the 9 heavens and 10 lands. He stepped out and charged towards Ling Xiao. This punch was incomparably vast, causing the surrounding mountains to tremble and the sky to shake. The Paragon martial arts allowed one to possess an invincible and peerless killing power right from the start. Although Ling Xiao's sky-devouring secret skill and ancestral dragon secret skill were not inferior to the sovereign martial arts when they were cultivated to the peak, and might even be stronger than them, they were not killing unique skills. Hence, they did not look as powerful as the sovereign martial arts. For Elephant's sky-striking style. Ling Xiao shouted coldly. The 7 limits divine art of devouring heaven and earth was created by Ling Xiao in his previous life. It was extremely powerful and was also the strongest killing technique that Ling Xiao had. Rumble. The 4 elephants' divine light shot up into the sky. The forces of earth, water, wind, and fire intertwined as if they were going to recreate the primordial chaos. In an instant, they enveloped the great emperor. The blazing fist radiance swept across, shattering the surrounding mountains and shaking the heavens and earth. However, the Longevity Mountain wasn't affected at all. Traces of mysterious runes flowed out and protected the Longevity Mountain. Ling Xiao and the ninth saint were like 2 ferocious beasts that could destroy the heavens and earth. They rampaged through the void and clashed fiercely. In the end, the 4 elephants' divine light destroyed the great emperor's shadow. Like a dazzling sword chi, it cut across the sky and slashed towards the ninth saint. Emperor's Tomb Fist, Heaven and Earth Mourn. The ninth saint's eyes were gloomy and filled with burning greed. The stronger Ling Xiao was, the more he coveted the martial arts that Ling Xiao cultivated. Bang! It was as if an immemorial divine mountain had exploded. The ninth saint's fist was unparalleled. The blazing divine light caused the heavens to shake violently. The unparalleled fist print blasted towards Ling Xiao, accompanied by the heavens and earth mourning and the mysterious phenomenon of a rain of blood. The ninth saint's fist seemed to have shattered the heavens and earth, causing the heavens and earth to weep in sorrow. Chapter 421. While Ling Xiao and the ninth saint were fighting, the Impermanence Ghost General and the Old Goat were also fighting. The Impermanence Ghost General held the heavenly halberd in his hand and looked like a ghost king from hell. Death chi surrounded him and every strike of the halberd was like a landslide. On the other hand, the Old Goat was very wretched. He relied on the extreme speed of his teleportation technique to shuttle between the halberd's shadows and give the Impermanence Ghost General a kick from time to time. The Old Goat didn't attack, but once he did, it was like a thunderbolt. His hooves were like an ancient mountain that suppressed everything and contained boundless power. The Impermanence Ghost General's head and chest were kicked a few times by the old goat, causing him to see stars and feel suffocated in his chest. He was so angry that he cried out, "Bastard, fight me for 300 rounds if you dare. What's the point of sneak attacking me?" The Impermanence Ghost General roared and controlled the power of heaven and earth to attack the old goat. Buzz! The old goat's body shone brightly and there seemed to be a hole behind him that was spewing out divine light. It swallowed the Impermanence Ghost General's power of heaven and earth. "Brat, you can't even catch up with me and you still want to fight me? You overestimate yourself." The old goat sneered and dodged the Impermanence Ghost General's Sky Piercer halberd. A small mountain below was shattered by the halberd's shadow. The old goat moved like a ghost and circled behind the Impermanence Ghost General before stomping on his head. Bang! As if he was hit by a star, the Impermanence Ghost General's vision turned black. He staggered and almost fell from the sky. "Ah, I'm going to kill you, bastard." The Impermanence Ghost General was so angry that his eyes were spitting fire. He hated the old goat to the extreme. He exploded with the combat strength of a noble and charged at the old goat. The supreme elders of the Underworld sect and the Wansho sect wanted to attack the people of the Changsan sect, but they were stopped by Ji Feishuan and the supreme elder of the Jade Lake sect. The four of them also started an intense battle in the sky. Boom! The most violent battle was at the top of the Changsan mountain. Without the restraint of the heavenly measuring rope, the sky-devouring supreme statue started a massacre like a dragon in the sea. Although there were many experts from the four great holy grounds, they were no match for the heaven-devouring supreme statue. They were slaughtered like leaves being swept away by a gust of wind. Nangong Xian, on the other hand, was not idling around. Although the great array of longevity and God seal had been broken, its foundation was still there. Additionally, using the Epiphany tree as the array core, he was able to recondense out the divine lightning of purple sky firmaments and longevity sword energy, allowing him to roam the longevity mountain unhindered. Controlling the grand longevity God seal array, Nangong Xian began slaughtering the experts from the four great sects. Bang! The sky-devouring supreme divine statue punched out like a dragon. Blazing light swept out in all directions, instantly blasting several celestial realm experts into a bloody mist. Crack! The purple heaven godly thunder fell from the sky, and a terrifying light swept out in all directions, engulfing a few strong cultivators of the Wansho sect and turning them into ashes. The longevity sword beam was boundless and unparalleled. It contained a power capable of destroying everything. It cut several of the Netherworld sect's disciples, who were shrouded in ghastly energy, into a cloud of blood. The battle became even more intense. The battle between Ling Xiao and the Ninth Holy Sun shook everyone the most. Both of them had supreme-level martial arts. When they used them, they swept up the power of heaven and earth and stirred up the clouds. It was as if two peerless supremes were fighting. Ling Xiao and the Ninth Holy Sun exchanged hundreds of blows. Under Ling Xiao's control, the 4 Elephants Sky Striking style, 5 Elements Sky Sealing style, and 6 Paths of Reincarnation style exploded with destructive power. The Ninth Holy Sun's Emperor's Tomb Fist was also very powerful. Coupled with his noble plane cultivation, he was actually on par with Ling Xiao. Kill! After another fierce collision, Ling Xiao took the opportunity to use a secret teleportation technique. He pierced through the layers of divine light and punched toward the Ninth Holy Sun. Ling Xiao's strongest point was still his physical strength. Although the Ninth Holy Sun had cultivated the Emperor's Tomb Fist, his physical strength was still much weaker than Ling Xiao's. Sensing the unparalleled divine power in Ling Xiao's punch, the Ninth Holy Sun did not dare to underestimate his opponent. Bright runes spread out from his hand. It was a bronze armor that blocked Ling Xiao's attack. Clang! Sparks flew everywhere. The bronze armor blocked Ling Xiao's punch. At the same time, a black gold battle saber appeared in the Ninth Holy Sun's hand. It emitted an unparalleled sharpness and slashed toward Ling Xiao's neck. Ling Xiao pointed his finger like a sword and tapped on the black gold battle saber. Bright runes exploded, and the battle saber hummed. At the same time, his other hand formed a fist seal and punched straight into the ninth holy sun's chest. Boom! Ling Xiao's punch exploded with the power of the flying dragon body. It was like the attack of an immemorial divine beast. The ninth holy sun's black robe was a powerful defensive Dao artifact. Black light rose and blocked Ling Xiao's punch. However, a portion of that unparalleled power still entered the ninth holy sun's body, causing his internal organs to churn. He could not help but turn pale and a trace of blood flowed out from the corner of his mouth. Ling Xiao, you deserve to die. The ninth holy sun was furious. He was the holy son of the emperor's tomb mountain. He was also a peerless prodigy in the war god continent. He looked down on everyone and the emperor's tomb fist was renowned throughout the world. Now, he was injured by Ling Xiao. Boom! A terrifying power exploded from the ninth holy sun's body. It was like the power of a volcano erupting. Dark clouds rolled in the sky, and a huge tomb seemed to appear behind the ninth saint. Black light shrouded the sky, and there was a horrifying figure above the tomb. The eyes of the figure suddenly opened, and two blazing beams of divine light pierced through the sky and shot toward Ling Xiao. It was too fast. It was like blazing lightning that contained the power to pierce through everything. It arrived in front of Ling Xiao in an instant. This was the ninth holy sun's killer move. He felt humiliated after being injured by Ling Xiao. He immediately went berserk. These two beams of divine light made Ling Xiao feel the threat of death. At the critical moment, Ling Xiao did not even think. The heaven-devouring sword instantly blocked the two divine lights. Clang! The heaven-devouring sword trembled violently. A terrifying divine light exploded, and an unparalleled divine power erupted. It instantly pushed Ling Xiao back dozens of feet. Ling Xiao's arms were numb, and his internal organs were in turmoil. His eyes revealed an extremely grave expression. The ninth holy sun's attack had the power to kill a noble realm cultivator instantly. It had almost surpassed the limit of the noble realm. What? The ninth holy sun was also stunned. He had paid a great price for this attack, but Ling Xiao was not killed instantly. Is it that ancient sword? Is it really that legendary treasure? The ninth holy sun was shocked. The greed in his eyes was even more intense. Kill! However, Ling Xiao did not give him a chance to react. After using this attack, the ninth holy sun was obviously weaker. This was the best opportunity to kill him. Roar! A shocking dragon roar sounded. Ling Xiao flew through the sky at extreme speed. The blood qi around him surged and turned into a golden dragon. It suddenly pressed down on the ninth holy sun. Chapter 422. Boom! The ninth saint's body trembled, and the countless runes on the bronze arm guard exploded. It had actually been shattered by Ling Xiao's punch. The unparalleled force landed on the ninth saint's arm, instantly causing the blood vessels on his arm to burst. It looked like a bloody mess, and it was extremely miserable. If not for the bronze arm guard, the ninth saint's arm would have been crippled. Swoosh! Ling Xiao's eyes were cold as he instantly grabbed the ninth saint's arm and kicked the ninth saint's chest. Boom! Although the black robe blocked most of the force, Ling Xiao's kick was extremely terrifying. It was like a human-shaped dragon, instantly causing the ninth saint's chest to feel stuffy. His body involuntarily flew into the sky. Ling Xiao's speed was extremely fast. He was like a flash of light as he followed up and ruthlessly punched the ninth saint's face. Boom! The ninth saint's teeth were all broken, and they flew out mixed with blood. His handsome face was distorted by Ling Xiao's punch. The ninth saint was ruthlessly smashed into a mountain peak in the distance. Instantly, the mountain shook, and a huge human-shaped hole appeared on the mountain peak. Everyone couldn't help but gasp. That was simply too violent. Ling Xiao's aura surged into the sky like a true dragon, directly shattering the dark clouds. That terrifying physical strength made everyone's scalp tingle. I'm going to kill you. The ninth saint was so angry that he almost fainted. He couldn't speak clearly, and his eyes were filled with rage. He only had one thought at that moment, and that was to kill Ling Xiao. Great divine light of destruction, destroy him for me. The ninth saint roared. His glabella suddenly split open, and endless black light surged, emitting an aura that made one's heart palpitate. Swoosh! A vast divine light shot out from the ninth saint's glabella. It was like an eternally indestructible Milky Way, containing a mysterious, domineering, and ancient power. It was as if heaven and earth had stopped under this light. It's actually the great divine light of destruction. To be able to force the ninth saint to use the great divine light of destruction, Ling Xiao is definitely dead. The Impermanence Ghost General's eyes also trembled, revealing a trace of horror. He did not expect Ling Xiao to be able to force the ninth saint to such an extent. The divine light of destruction was a power bestowed by the Lord of the Emperor Tomb Mountain. Every saint had a great divine light of destruction that was specifically targeted at the primordial spirit. It could instantly kill the primordial spirit of an emperor and was extremely powerful. Not to mention Ling Xiao, even if an emperor was here, his soul would instantly disperse. This was the ninth saint's most powerful move. If Ling Xiao's strength had not exceeded the ninth saint son's imagination, he would not have used the great divine light of destruction to kill Ling Xiao. Wang! In the void, the divine light stretched for thousands of miles. It was resplendent like a rainbow, stunning the world. In an instant, it shot into Ling Xiao's forehead. Facing the great annihilation divine light, Ling Xiao did not have the slightest leeway to resist. Ling Xiao is dead. Ha ha ha. The experts from the 4 great holy lands were originally wailing like ghosts and howling like wolves. When they saw this scene, their eyes were filled with incomparable excitement as they laughed heartily. On the other hand, Nangong Xian and the others' expressions changed drastically. Their eyes were filled with incomparable worry. That terrifying great divine light of destruction made everyone feel as though their souls were being destroyed when they saw it. The depths of their souls were trembling incessantly. How was Ling Xiao going to block such a peerless attack? Bang! Taking advantage of the moment when the Impermanence Ghost General was distracted, the old goat circled behind the Impermanence Ghost General and directly kicked his head. This attack seemed to be able to shatter a sacred mountain, causing the Impermanence Ghost General to stagger as his head turned black. At the same time, a 3-legged, 2-eared golden cauldron rose behind the old goat. It emitted dazzling golden flames and instantly sucked the Impermanence Ghost General in. Endless flames spread out and began to refine the Impermanence Ghost General. What bullshit great divine light of destruction! You want to kill Ling Xiao? What wishful thinking! I don't have time to play with you anymore. I'll refine you first. The old goat sneered, not worried at all. Although the great divine light of destruction was very powerful, Ling Xiao had the wordless heavenly book to protect him. He was the least afraid of primordial spirit attacks. How dare you sneak attack me, you vile creature! I'm going to rip you to shreds to vent my anger. The Impermanence Ghost General howled as he unleashed a barrage of attacks on the 3-legged, 2-eared cauldron. That's all you've got? Yang Qi said. You don't even know how to curse people. You want to escape from my Heaven Devourer cauldron? You're delusional. Chuckling coldly, the old goat tapped the cauldron with his hooves, causing it to shine with dazzling golden light and a mysterious power to erupt. Intense flames erupted as the Impermanence Ghost General was being refined. In Ling Xiao's sea of consciousness, the great destructive divine light pierced through everything and shot directly at Ling Xiao's golden primordial spirit. It contained a terrifying power. However, the wordless heavenly book unleashed a mysterious, boundless light that wrapped around the great divine light of destruction and caused it to vanish. What a terrifying great divine light of destruction! If I didn't have the wordless heavenly book, I really would have failed miserably. Ling Xiao chuckled bitterly. The great divine light of destruction had been bolstered by a paragon, and not even the nascent divinity of an emperor would have been able to withstand it. Thankfully, he had the wordless heavenly book to protect his nascent divinity golden clone. Rumble. When the ninth holy sun saw Ling Zhao's forehead being pierced by the great divine light of destruction, a cold smile appeared on his face. Knowing that Ling Zhao was dead beyond the shadow of a doubt, he shot forward to grab the Heaven Devourer's sword. After all, this was the legendary sword of Paragon Heaven Devourer, and contained boundless power. Perhaps Ling Zhao's legacy had come from this very sword. You want the Heaven Devourer's sword? A cold voice rang out, causing the ninth holy sun to tremble, and a look of disbelief in his eyes. He abruptly raised his head, just in time to see the cold light shooting out from Ling Zhao's eyes. How did you dash? The ninth holy sun's expression changed drastically, but before he could finish his sentence, a divine rainbow flashed by, and his head was instantly sent flying by the Heaven Devourer's sword. The ninth holy sun's eyes were filled with disbelief and indignation, and he instantly lost his spirit. I want to see what the Emperor Tomb Mountain is trying to do. Ling Zhao's eyes flickered coldly, and a golden light shot out from the Heaven Devourer Golden Lotus, grabbing toward the ninth holy sun's nascent divinity. However, a bright rune flickered within the ninth holy sun's nascent divinity, and it exploded with a loud bang. Did they set up a restriction in the primordial spirit? How ruthless of the Emperor Tomb Mountain. They won't even let their own people off. Ling Zhao muttered to himself as he grabbed the ninth holy sun's storage ring and the black robe he was wearing. There should be some clues in the ninth holy sun's storage ring, and the black robe was also a powerful defensive Dao artifact. After the ninth holy sun died, it also became an ownerless item. Chapter 423. You killed the ninth holy sun. That's impossible. Ghost General Anika howled from within the Heaven Devourer cauldron, his voice trembling with disbelief. The grand extermination godlight was so powerful that not even emperors could survive it. But Ling Zhao had evaded it, and even killed the ninth holy sun. That was completely beyond Ghost General Anika's wildest imaginations. You're still in the mood to care about others? Heh heh. Alright, I'll send you to meet that dog's hit ninth holy sun right now. The old goat's eyes flashed, and he chuckled darkly. The Heaven Devourer cauldron began to glow with dazzling golden flames, and mysterious magical symbols that began to refine Ghost General Anika. I refuse to accept this. You shameless bastards. Emperor Tomb Mountain won't let you get away with this. Ghost General Anika howled, but he couldn't break free from the Heaven Devourer cauldron. Before long, he went completely silent as the old goat refined him. When the prime elders from the underworld house and the house of myriad beasts saw that the ninth holy sun and Ghost General Anika were dead, they were so frightened that their souls almost left their bodies. Where do you think you're going? Ling Zhao said, his eyes flashing coldly. His Heaven Devourer sword shone with dazzling light, and he slashed down like a beam of light, inundating the prime elders from the underworld house. A miserable shriek rang out as the prime elder from the underworld house was cut down. As for the prime elder from the house of myriad beasts, he died at the hands of Ji Feishuan. In the end, the 4 prime elders from the 4 holy lands who had besieged the Live Forever mountain were all killed, and the other experts who had come with such ferocity were all killed by the Heaven Devourer Paragon. Not a single person escaped. At the peak of Live Forever mountain, the dark clouds dispersed, and golden sunlight shone down. Severed limbs and flesh were everywhere, making it look like a scene straight out of hell. The peak of Live Forever mountain was stained red with blood, and under the sunlight, it shone with a demonic light that would cause anyone who looked at it to tremble in fear. The stench of blood filled the air, and the disciples of the Live Forever house looked as if they had just survived a calamity. Especially when they saw the blood of the 4 grand elders and the 9th saint and impermanence Ghost General being killed by Ling Zhao and the old goat, their eyes were filled with excitement. As long as the holy sun doesn't die, he will live forever. Someone shouted. Following that, all the longevity sect disciples started to cheer. Their voices shook the clouds. Fellow elders, junior brothers, and junior sisters, the experts from the 4 great holy lands who came to invade us today have all been killed. Everyone, recuperate well. Tomorrow, follow me and kill our way into the 4 great holy lands. The Sun Moon Star Sect, Myriad Beast Sect, Netherworld Sect, and Terminator Demons Sect should be removed from the list. Ling Xiao looked at the many disciples of Longevity Mountain with a gratified look in his eyes. Facing the experts of the 4 great sacred lands, even though they knew that they were no match for them, none of the disciples ran away. They were all willing to fight for the Longevity Gate. Ling Xiao believed that with these disciples, after this battle, the Changsun sect would quickly rise up and become the new holy land of martial arts in the 8 Desolates region. This was also the first step of the Changsun sect's rise. Attack the 4 great holy lands. Kill. 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 Looking at Ling Xiao's figure in the sky, the disciples and elders of the Changsun sect shouted fanatically. Under Nangong Xian's command, the elders and disciples of the Changsun sect started to clean up the experts of the 4 great holy lands. The weapons and treasures in their storage rings could be used as cultivation resources for the disciples of the Changsun sect. Ling Xiao came to Ji Feishuan and smiled. Your Majesty, it has been a long time since we last met. This time, we have to thank your Majesty for your help. Otherwise, the Longevity sect would have suffered heavy casualties. Ling Xiao was grateful to Ji Feishuan. Whether it was in the Changsun secret land or when the 4 great holy lands besieged Longevity Mountain, Ji Feishuan had stood by his side without hesitation. Without Jade Lake sect's help, the consequences would have been unimaginable. You're welcome. Without us, you wouldn't be afraid of the experts of the 4 great holy lands with your current combat strength. Ji Feishuan said flatly with a tinge of emotion in her eyes. In the blink of an eye, the young man in the fearsome Beast Mountain range had the power to make the entire 8 Desolates region tremble. But you have to be careful. The 9th Holy Sun and Impermanence Ghost General died in your hands. I'm afraid the forces behind them won't let this matter rest. Ling Xiao smiled with a tinge of sharpness in his eyes. Let's not talk about whether the God of War continent can cross the reincarnation ocean. Even if they come, what can they do? You'd better be careful. Although you're strong now, they have sovereigns and even supremes behind them. Any one of them will be a huge threat. Ji Feishuan rolled her eyes. Thanks for the reminder. I'll be careful. I'm going to attack the 4 great holy lands tomorrow. Is the Jade Lake sect interested in getting a share of the loot? Ling Xiao smiled and changed the topic. Before Ji Feishuan could say anything, the Supreme Elder of the Jade Lake sect's eyes lit up. With Ling Xiao's terrifying combat strength, the remaining people of the 4 great holy lands would not be able to resist him. When the 4 great holy lands were destroyed, wouldn't the Jade Lake sect rule the 8 Desolates region? More importantly, the 4 great holy lands had a huge amount of resources in their hands. Thank you, young Master Ling. Tomorrow, the Jade Lake sect will definitely send people to cheer for you. The Supreme Elder of the Jade Lake sect smiled. He knew that Ling Xiao wanted to return the favor and let the Jade Lake sect have a share of the loot. If you have time, you can come to the Jade Lake sect to look for me. In the end, the people of the Jade Lake sect bid farewell and left the Longevity Mountain. Ji Feishuan looked at Ling Xiao with sparkling eyes and left after saying those words. Could it be that the great Xian Empress has taken a liking to me? Ling Xiao stroked his chin with a narcissistic expression. Ling Xiao, don't you dare flirt with other women. If you dare to do anything to hurt Jin Sei, I won't forgive you. The old goat appeared beside Ling Xiao out of nowhere and glared at him. The old goat was arrogant and unruly in his previous life. Other than Ling Xiao, he had a good relationship with Jin Sei. Therefore, he stood on Jin Sei's side without hesitation. Bastard, what are you thinking? Ling Xiao seemed to have been seen through by the old goat and said angrily. Do you think I don't know you? TSK, if you don't want me to tell on you to Jin Sei, it's very simple. I want 80% of the treasures on you. The old goat looked at Ling Xiao with disdain and finally revealed his true motive. What treasures? I don't know. Ling Xiao pretended to be ignorant. Those great noble realm elders, especially the ninth saint, must have a lot of treasures on them. Quickly take them out and split the loot. The old goat licked his face and urged. No, these are my spoils of war. Ling Xiao was vigilant. If you don't give, I'll bite you to death. The old goat's eyes flashed fiercely and rushed towards Ling Xiao. Bastard, don't bite my hand. Let go, let go. Chapter 424. After the battle, the Changshan mountain was filled with joy and sorrow, but it was filled with vitality and cohesion. Ling Xiao comforted the disciples of the Changshan sect and cheered them up. The moon goddess and the phoenix maiden seemed determined to follow Ling Xiao and stayed in the Changshan sect for the time being. In the end, Ling Xiao and the old goat secretly closed the door of the Jin's pavilion and began to count their gains. Overall, Ling Xiao and the old goat had killed the Yin-Yang Lord, the Nirvana Lord, the Lord of the Underworld, the Black Dragon King, and the 8 Supreme Elders. Including the 9th Saint and the Impermanence Ghost General, there were 14 noble realm cultivators in total. Ling Xiao didn't care about the other cultivators below the noble realm, so he left them all to Nangong Xian. All the storage treasures of the 14 noble realm cultivators were in Ling Xiao's hands, especially the Impermanence Ghost General's storage treasure and the Sky Piercer halberd. The old goat reluctantly handed them over under Ling Xiao's coercion. Other than that, there were also many treasures from the Changshan secret territory that the 4 sacred lands had plundered. Ling Xiao and the old goat were mentally prepared, but they still gasped when they saw the treasures in the storage treasures. Their eyes shone brightly. We're rich. We're really rich now. Even with Ling Xiao's supreme state of mind, he was still very excited when he saw so many treasures. The old goat's eyes shone and his saliva almost flowed out. Among these storage magic treasures, the light of treasures was sparkling, and the spiritual energy was overwhelming. Spirit pills, spirit herbs, divine weapons, and powerful martial arts were all there. After tallying all the spiritual stones and spirit crystals, Zhang Xian had a total of 25 billion pinnacle spiritual stones and 130 million spirit crystals. There were more than 820,000 spiritual medicines. Although most of them were below the supreme spiritual medicine level, there were more than 130 king-level spiritual medicines. There were more than 320,000 spiritual pills and 3,000 treasure-level spiritual medicines. There were also more than 80 supreme spiritual pills. They were extremely precious. There were more than 80,000 spiritual weapons and 4,000 treasure-level weapons. There were even 321 Dao weapons. Most of them were low-grade and middle-grade Dao weapons. There were 18 superior-grade Dao weapons. What excited Ling Xiao the most was the martial arts heritage. There were more than 30,000 martial arts below heaven level, and more than 100 heaven-level martial arts. Among them, there was no lack of martial arts from the 4 great holy lands, such as the Azure Dragon True Art, Nirvana True Art, Netherworld True Art, and so on. Of course, the highest-level martial arts techniques were only of the middle grade. After all, the 8 Desolation region had many high-level martial arts techniques that had been lost. Apart from that, there were also large amounts of natural treasures and precious ores. In particular, he found 3 divine sun stones and a bottle of divine yin water in the storage treasure of the Yin-Yang King. These were all supreme treasures. With such a large amount of resources, although Ling Xiao did not care for most of them, it was enough to make the longevity sect the holy land of the 8 Desolates region. With sect with the heavens with the heavens with the heavens. Ling Xiao looked forward to the 9th Holy Sun and the Impermanence Ghost General's storage treasures. The 9th Holy Sun's black robe was called the Black Dragon Robe. It was the same as the Impermanence Ghost General's halberd. They were both supreme grade Dao weapons. In addition, they also found many precious Dao artifacts in their storage Dharma treasures. This is pure Yang Pill. The old goat's eyes flashed with a hint of excitement. Among the storage treasures of the Ninth Saint and the Impermanence Ghost General, there were more than 3,000 snow-white pills the size of a longan fruit. They emitted connate pure yang qi, which made one's soul feel like it was floating in the air. The pure yang pill is a treasure of an even higher grade than spirit crystals. It's a supreme treasure condensed from space by a monarch realm expert using the energy of their soul core. Supposedly, a monarch realm expert would need an entire month to condense a single pure yang pill without rest. The pure yang pill is the currency of the war god continent. One pure yang pill can be exchanged for millions of spiritual crystals. It could be said that these pure yang pills were much more precious than spiritual stones and crystals. With these pure yang pills, it's enough to raise my cultivation to the peak of the sky human realm. Ling Xiao was also quite excited. Now, the use of spiritual crystals was almost negligible to him. These are soul morning nails. So these are the real soul morning nails. It seems like the soul morning nails I obtained before were all fake. Ling Xiao's eyes flickered, and he opened a jade box that the Ninth Saint had sealed. There were 28 soul morning nails inside. They sparkled with starlight and contained traces of ancient intent. There was a sharpness that could destroy one's soul. Compared to these 28 soul morning nails, the soul morning nails that Ling Xiao had obtained before were obviously fake. The Emperor Tomb Mountain is the holy land of the Ghost Tao. Legend has it that there are 360 soul morning nails in the Emperor Tomb Mountain. Together, they form a supreme weapon. The ninth holy sun actually brought 28 soul morning nails. It seems like he's planning something big. The old goat's eyes flashed as he said slowly. The underworld sect should be their chess piece. They didn't hesitate to destroy the dragon veins of the 4 ancient countries and even wanted to release the extraterritorial demons in the longevity mystic realm. What benefits would that bring them? Ling Xiao was also very confused. It seemed like releasing the extraterritorial demons from the Emperor Tomb Mountain would only cause the 8 Desolates region to be plunged into misery and suffering. It didn't bring any benefits to the Emperor Tomb Mountain at all. If the Emperor Tomb Mountain was planning to obtain the longevity sect's inheritance, they wouldn't release the extraterritorial demons. Therefore, Ling Xiao couldn't understand their actions. Or, the Emperor Tomb Mountain has already been occupied by the extraterritorial demons? The old goat's imagination ran wild as he said slowly. That's possible, but I still feel that something is wrong. What is this? Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. He saw a pitch-black bone in the ninth holy sun's storage treasure. It emitted a soul-stirring light that made people shudder. Ling Xiao picked up the black bone. It looked like it was the size of a fist and was very hard. Even the true devouring fire couldn't burn it. However, the wordless heavenly book in Ling Xiao's mind emitted a wave of desire and joy. Could this black bone also be left behind by the extraterritorial demons? Ling Xiao's eyes turned cold. The wordless heavenly book emitted a ray of golden light and slowly rolled towards the black bone. Buzz! At that moment, the black bone suddenly emitted a bright light. An evil, ancient, and terrifying aura exploded. It actually started to fight with the wordless heavenly book. The wordless heavenly book seemed to be enraged. It flew out from Ling Xiao's mind and started to suppress the black bone. The golden light and black light surged. The two of them were evenly matched. In the end, they both returned to silence. The wordless heavenly book flew back into Ling Xiao's mind again. The black bone also lost its light and landed in Ling Xiao's hand again. This black bone is ominous. Chapter 425. Ling Xiao's gaze was solemn. This was the first time he encountered something that even the wordless heavenly book could not deal with. The black bone's aura was terrifying. When it exploded, it was like a demon descending to the world. It was domineering and mysterious. Is this a person? After the black bone clashed with the wordless heavenly book, it regained its calmness. However, some patterns appeared on it, and it looked like the back of a person. When one looked at the back of the person, they would feel as if they had fallen into an endless darkness. Even their primordial spirit would fall into the Tao of demons. Ling Xiao, this black bone is too strange. Why don't we throw it away? The old goat was also a little scared. He stared at the black bone for a moment. Then, his entire body trembled as if he had seen a ghost. This black bone is very unusual. Perhaps the plot to find the Emperor Tomb Mountain lies within this black bone. Ling Xiao carefully put away the black bones. Although the black bones looked very strange, Ling Xiao didn't feel any threat from them. Instead, Ling Xiao could faintly feel that this black bone was very important to him. After counting the loot, the old goat happily picked out some treasures that could heal Dao injuries. He did not care about the rest. Ling Xiao also left some spiritual crystals and a few powerful Dao weapons. He kept the rest and prepared to hand them over to Nangong Xian. With such a large amount of resources, the Changsun sect would definitely rise rapidly. Just as the battle of the Changsun sect came to an end, in the endless mountains in the south, a young man in golden robes with an extraordinary aura rode on a white elephant and galloped towards the south. Second Master, why do we have to leave the Eight Desolates region? That bastard Ling Xiao killed Big Brother. I want to avenge him. The young man in golden robes was Zhao Ritian. At this moment, his eyes were bloodshot and filled with anger. In the Changsun secret territory, the lords of Yin Yang died in the hands of Ling Xiao. As for the sun god, he was torn to pieces by those terrifying extraterrestrial demons. Zhao Ritian blamed Ling Xiao for the death of the sun god. If we stay in the Eight Desolates region, you have no hope of killing Ling Xiao. That kid is not simple. I suspect that he might be the reincarnation of an almighty. Second Master said helplessly. The reincarnation of an almighty? How is that possible? How can that bastard Ling Xiao do that? Second Master, where else can we go if we leave the Eight Desolates region? Zhao Ritian's eyes were filled with disbelief. Soon after, he became a little confused. To the War God continent, of course. The Eight Desolates region has been quiet for tens of thousands of years and is no longer the center of the world. Only when you go to the War God continent can your holy sun physique quickly awaken. At that time, you will enter the holy land of the sun and cultivate to the supremacy realm. If you want to kill Ling Xiao, won't it be easy? Second uncle's voice was full of bewitchment. War God continent? But I heard that the War God continent and the Eight Desolates region are separated by the endless reincarnation ocean. How are we going to cross the reincarnation ocean? Zhao Ritian was a little tempted. However, he still spoke hesitantly. Don't worry. Listen to me. I promise you that you will reach the War God continent safely. With your holy body of the sun, you will definitely become the holy son of the holy land of the sun. When your cultivation is strong enough, it will be easy for you to kill Ling Xiao, said second uncle. All right. Zhao Ritian's eyes were filled with vigor. He said in high spirits, I will listen to you. War God continent, I, Zhao Ritian, am coming. Roar. As if it could sense Zhao Ritian's excitement, Bai Xiang let out a roar and ran towards the south with all four limbs. There was an endless ocean. Behind the ocean was the vast War God continent. It was Zhao Ritian's new journey. Who knew how many billions of miles away from the Eight Desolates region, a black divine mountain stood at the peak of the sky. The surroundings were filled with ghostly qi and chaotic qi. The divine mountain was like a huge ancient tomb. It emitted a vast and ancient aura. This was the Emperor Tomb Mountain, one of the holy land of the War God continent with the longest history. Dijiu is already dead. It seems like the plan in the Eight Desolates region has failed. However, the Emperor Bone cannot be lost. No matter who killed Dijiu, you will have to pay the price, an old and majestic voice came from the divine mountain. It emitted an aura that shook the Eight Desolates region. The surrounding sky trembled. The primal chaos mist boiled. Countless powerful figures flew towards the Emperor Tomb Mountain. When Ling Xiao handed over most of the treasures to Nangong Xian was stunned. Nangong Xian had never seen so many treasures before. Spiritual pills, spiritual herbs, divine weapons, and martial arts inheritances dazzled him. The great elder was also smiling foolishly. He was so excited that even his beard was trembling. With so many cultivation resources, our Changsun sect will be able to reach the level of the 5 great saint lands in less than 10 years. Ling Xiao, you are really our lucky star. Nangong Xian was also very excited. He had heard about what happened in the Changsun secret realm. The kings of the 4 great saint lands were all killed by Ling Xiao. Moreover, the treasures that the 4 great saint lands obtained from the Changsun secret realm had all landed in Ling Xiao's hands. Although Nangong Xian had expected this, he did not expect there to be so many treasures. Sect leader is too polite. I am also a member of the Changsun sect. With these resources, the Changsun sect will be safe for the next 100 years. Sect leader can recruit a large number of disciples and enrich the Changsun sect. After I destroy the 4 great saint lands tomorrow, I should be able to obtain even more resources. Ling Xiao said with a smile. The Changsun sect now had less than 1,000 disciples after going through a series of calamities. Compared to the Changsun sect's heyday when they had 1 million disciples, it was a huge difference. With these resources, the Changsun sect could recruit a large number of disciples. You must be careful when you attack the 4 great saint lands tomorrow. The 4 great saint lands have been passed down for thousands of years. They might have some hidden techniques and killer moves. Do not underestimate them. Nangong Xian reminded. Sect leader, don't worry. I will be careful. Ling Xiao said with a smile. At night, the Moon God and Phoenix Woman came together to ask Ling Xiao to let the Sun Moon Star sect and the Wanshou sect go. After all, those who offended Ling Xiao had already been killed. The Sun Moon Star sect and the Changsun sect have a deep relationship. The Wanshou sect can let them live, but they must pay a price. They must follow the Changsun sect's lead in the future. Can you make the decision? Ling Xiao said with a smile. Lord Yin Yang of the Sun Moon Star sect was already dead. Even if it was for the sake of Shengguan Ming, Ling Xiao could not destroy the orthodoxy of the Sun Moon Star sect. However, he had to teach them a lesson. The Wanshou sect had a deep grudge with Ling Xiao. However, in order to recruit the Phoenix Woman, if the Wanshou sect was willing to pay a price and submit to the Changsun sect, Ling Xiao might spare them. After the battle at the Changsun Mountain, Ling Xiao's name had spread across the 8 Desolates region. Even the great saint lands would not dare to find trouble with Ling Xiao. The Sun Moon Star sect can do it. The Moon God decided. We can compensate for some losses, but it will be difficult for the Wanshou sect to submit to the Changsun sect. The Phoenix Woman said with a bitter smile. Chapter 426. If they don't submit, then there's no need for the Wanshou sect to exist. Ling Xiao smiled faintly as a sharp light flashed in his eyes. The Phoenix Maiden was sad. Although the Black Dragon King wanted to use her to cultivate the Vermilion Bird True technique, she grew up in the Wanshou sect and had deep feelings for it. However, the Phoenix Maiden also knew that the supreme elders of the Wanshou sect would not listen to her and would not submit to the Changsun sect. They might not even compensate them. I'll go with you tomorrow. I'll try my best to persuade them. The Phoenix Maiden sighed. If the Wanshou sect did not realize their mistake, then they would really be annihilated. The next day, the golden morning sun shone on the peak of the Changsun mountain. Ling Xiao, the old goat, the moon goddess, and the Phoenix Maiden flew up and left the Changsun sect. Annihilating a sect, interesting. Hehe, Ling Xiao, which sect should we annihilate first? The old goat's eyes were filled with eagerness. The Wanshou sect. Ling Xiao smiled faintly and looked towards the west of the fearsome beast mountain range. That was where the Wanshou sect was located. Alright, let's go. The old goat laughed. The four of them turned into a ray of light and flew towards the Wanshou sect at an extremely fast speed. The battle at the Changsan Mountain had shocked the entire Eight Desolation region. No one had expected Ling Xiao's combat strength to be so terrifying. The experts of the four great holy lands joined forces and attacked the Changsan Mountain under the leadership of the four supreme elders. In the end, they were all annihilated. Moreover, the news of Ling Xiao's visit quickly spread throughout the four great holy lands. The four great holy lands were all jittery and heavily guarded. They activated the sect protection array and were ready for battle. On the way, Ling Xiao met the supreme elder of the Jade Lake sect, Zhong Huan, who led the 36 heavenly beings of the Jade Lake sect to support Ling Xiao. In fact, Ling Xiao wanted to thank Ji Feishuan and let the people of the Jade Lake sect have a share of the loot. Moreover, Zhong Huan came with the Jade Lake sect's most powerful void treasure ship. It was extremely fast. Everyone drove the void treasure ship all the way to the Wanshou sect. The Eight Desolation region was filled with mountains and rivers. Ling Xiao stood in the clouds with an indifferent look in his eyes. A sharp aura surrounded him. In less than a day, the ship traveled more than 100,000 miles and arrived at a desolate mountain range. The Wanshou sect was located here. That's the Wanshou sect. The Phoenix Maiden pointed at a mountain range in front of her with a hint of emotion in her eyes. Crouching tiger and coiling dragon, yin and yang converge, the earth fiend illuminates the heavenly stars, this is the land of dragons and snakes, no wonder the Wanshou sect built their headquarters here, it really is a paradise. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed, revealing a trace of surprise. In front of him was an ancient and majestic mountain range that rose and fell continuously. It was like a huge dragon lying dormant on the ground, emitting a majestic aura. Spiritual mist pervaded the mountain range, and powerful demonic beasts roared, shaking the heavens. One could faintly see all kinds of strange flowers, herbs, old trees, and ancient vines. However, at the moment, the Wanshou sect was covered by a mysterious veil of light. It was obvious that the sect protection formation had been activated. The sect protection formation of the Wanshou sect is called the Wanshou Heaven Formation. It is extremely powerful and can withstand the attack of a noble realm expert. It also contains killing power, so be careful. The Phoenix Maiden said slowly. She had mixed feelings. She hoped that Ling Xiao could break the formation, but at the same time, she did not want Ling Xiao to do so. Wanshou Heaven Formation. The sect protection formation formed by the power of dragons and tigers, the Earth Chi Dragon Vein, and the power of the heavenly demons is indeed extraordinary. However, it's still not enough to stop me. Ling Xiao smiled faintly with a trace of confidence in his eyes. He did not take the Wanshou Heaven Formation seriously at all. Stop. This is the holy land of the Wanshou sect. Get out if you don't want to die. A cold voice was heard. The clouds in the mountain range churned as a burly man with a black spear flew over. His eyes were filled with coldness. People of the Wanshou sect, listen up. I am Ling Xiao. The Wanshou sect has attacked the Changsan sect, which is a heinous crime. You have 30 minutes to open the sect protection formation, hand over half of the treasures in the Wanshou sect, and bow down to the Changsan sect. Otherwise, the Wanshou sect will be wiped out. Ling Xiao did not even look at the burly man. He stood in the air with a vast aura around him. The thunderous voice that came out of his mouth spread throughout the entire Wanshou sect. What? You're Ling Xiao. The burly man's expression changed abruptly as a trace of seriousness appeared in his eyes. However, after hearing Ling Xiao's words, a trace of murderous intent appeared in his eyes. What an arrogant brat. How dare you come to the Wanshou sect and behave so atrociously? You're courting death. The burly man's eyes were cold as the black spear in his hand flew through the air like a black dragon piercing through the void. The burly man unleashed the power of a peak celestial being and stabbed at Ling Xiao's chest. In his opinion, Ling Xiao's cultivation was only at the third level of the celestial being realm. The rumors that Ling Xiao had killed the kings of the various sects were definitely just rumors. You're courting death. A cold light flashed in Ling Xiao's eyes as a violent aura emanated from his body. He threw out a punch. Crack! The golden thunderbolt exploded, and a golden fist aura swept across the sky. It instantly blasted on the black spear, and directly smashed this powerful low-grade Dao tool into pieces. The punch did not lose its momentum. It landed on the burly man's chest, shattering his internal organs. In an instant, the burly man exploded into a bloody mist in the air. What? The experts from the Wanshou sect were all shocked, and their eyes were filled with fear. A peak celestial being was no match for Ling Xiao's punch. Could it be that Ling Xiao really had the combat strength to kill a noble? Ling Xiao, you've gone too far. The Black Dragon King, the chief of the Wanshou sect, and 2 supreme elders have died at your hands. Isn't that enough? Don't be so overbearing. 2 old men in black robes appeared in the Wanshou sky matrix. They emanated an extremely powerful aura and their eyes were filled with malice and hatred. These 2 were the only remaining noble cultivators of the Wanshou sect, the last 2 supreme elders. They were both furious and fearful of Ling Xiao. Going too far. Does the Wanshou sect know how to go too far? Usually, you rely on your cultivation to bully the weak. Today, you have the audacity to accuse me of going too far. So what if I'm going to bully you today? Agree to my terms and I'll spare your lives. Otherwise, you'll all die. Ling Xiao sneered. His voice was decisive and domineering, leaving no room for disobedience. The Phoenix Lady could not stand it anymore. She stood out and begged, Supreme Elders, Ling Xiao now has the combat strength to kill a noble. The Wanshou sect is no match for him. Moreover, it was the Wanshou sect that attacked the Changsun sect first. I advise you to agree to Ling Xiao's terms. Can you bear to see the Wanshou sect's foundation destroyed? Bitch, shut up. One of the black-robed supreme elders roared. His eyes were filled with murderous intent. You betrayed the clan, deceived your master, and are in cahoots with Ling Xiao. How dare you try to persuade us? I only regret that I didn't persuade the chief to kill you and leave you as a scourge. If you want to destroy the Wanshou sect, you'll have to destroy the Wanshou sky matrix first. The Phoenix Lady's face turned pale and her eyes turned cold. Chapter 427. Since the Wanshou sect wants to die, I'll fulfill your wish. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed coldly. His body exuded a boundless aura as he stepped forward. Rumble. Blazing golden clouds surged and blood qi shook the void. Ling Xiao stepped on the void and walked toward the Wanshou heaven formation with a domineering look in his eyes. Although the Wanshou heaven formation was powerful, Ling Xiao was a formation master in his previous life. This formation that the Wanshou sect had spent countless years on was full of flaws in Ling Xiao's eyes. Elder, Ling Xiao killed several kings in the Longevity Mountain. If we provoke him, I'm afraid the Wanshou sect will be annihilated today. An expert from the Wanshou sect said with a trembling voice. His eyes were filled with fear. What's there to be afraid of? Even the sect leader couldn't break the Wanshou heaven formation. Ling Xiao is just a celestial realm cultivator. It's impossible for him to break the formation. I hope he can break into the formation. When the time comes, we'll activate the killing force together and kill him. The 2 supreme elders said coldly. Their eyes were filled with murderous intent. Rumble. At this moment, Ling Xiao made his move. He stood in the air above the myriad beast heavenward matrix. The sky-devouring sword in his hand emitted a blazing sharpness as he slowly raised it. Wind and thunder rumbled as the sky changed color. A terrifying sword will spread out. Break. Ling Xiao spat out a word. Suddenly, the sky-devouring sword emitted millions of rays of divine light and slashed toward the Wanshou heaven formation. Roar. The myriad beasts' skyward formation was shrouded in clouds and mist. Under the control of the two supreme elders, runes filled the air and earth chi surged. It directly transformed into a 10,000 zhang tall cloud beast. It looked extremely ferocious as it pounced towards Ling Xiao. Rumble. Unparalleled sword chi exploded. Ling Xiao's sword slashed at one of the nodes of the Wan Shou heaven formation. Instantly, the giant cloud beast was shattered. Countless runes exploded, rumbling and shaking the world. The surrounding mountains began to crumble. The Wan Shou heaven formation that had protected the Wan Shou sect for countless years was broken in an instant. What? The two Wan Shou sect supreme elders' eyes were filled with disbelief and fear. They had originally thought that it was impossible for Ling Xiao to break through the myriad beasts' heavenward formation, and that he might even be killed by the formation. In the end, Ling Xiao had only used a single sword strike to break through the myriad beasts' heavenward formation. With this kid here, the Ba Huang region is destined to belong to the longevity sect in the future. The supreme elder of the Jade Lake sect was shaken as he slowly spoke. Hee hee, old fogey, let me send you on your way. After Ling Xiao broke the 1,000-beast heavenward formation, the old goat was not to be outdone. He turned into a bolt of black lightning and pounced towards the two grand elders. Young Master Ling, please spare our lives. We are willing to submit to Changsun sect. The two grand elders had already been scared out of their wits by Ling Xiao. How could they still have a shred of fighting spirit? Immediately, they began to plead repeatedly. Too late. The old goat laughed coldly as he spat out two blazing sword rays that instantly cut the two grand elders in half. The King Heaven Devourer cauldron buzzed as it sucked in the two grand elders and began to refine them. Experts of the noble plane had the will to rule over heaven and earth, which was very beneficial to the old goat's Tao injury. Since they were enemies, the old goat was not going to be courteous and was prepared to refine them to heal his Tao injury. I'll have to trouble Grand Elder Zong from now on. Ling Xiao smiled at Zong Huan. The remaining grand elders of the Wan Shou sect were all experts below the noble plane, so they posed no threat to Ling Xiao. Don't worry, young Master Ling. None of the Wan Shou sect will escape. Zong Huan cupped his hands and smiled. He lowered his posture as he and the other experts of the Jade Lake sect charged towards the disciples and elders of the Wan Shou sect. The Wan Shou sect was the one who was unkind to you first. You don't have to be sad because of them. Ling Xiao glanced at Phoenix Maiden and said with a smile. I know, but this is where I've lived for decades. Fine, Ling Xiao, I'll take you to the treasury of the Wan Shou sect. The Phoenix Maiden smiled bitterly. She turned into a ray of light and led Ling Xiao to the treasury of the Wan Shou sect. The treasury of the Wan Shou sect was located at the center of the mountain range and was protected by a large formation. However, with Ling Xiao around, the formation was easily broken. The door of the treasury was wide open. Even Ling Xiao, who had seen countless treasures, was surprised. The Wan Shou sect was indeed a large sect with thousands of years of history. There were dozens of palaces filled with elixirs, treasures, and weapons in the treasury. However, there were not many treasures that caught Ling Xiao's attention. The most powerful weapon of the Wan Shou sect was only an upper-grade doctrine instrument. What piqued Ling Xiao's interest was a stone tablet that recorded a powerful ancient scripture. The Wan Shou Sutra. Too bad it's only a fragment. The 10,000 Beasts scripture was recorded on a stone tablet. On it were the Azure Dragon True Exercise, White Tiger True Exercise, Vermilion Bird True Exercise, Black Tortoise True Exercise, Heavenly Snake True Exercise, Demonic Bear True Exercise, and Heavenly Wolf True Exercise. What made Ling Xiao feel pity was that the Wan Shou Sutra was very mysterious and was a supreme technique. However, it was too incomplete, so he could only practice the 7 major techniques. This Wan Shou Sutra is useful to me. Maybe I can find the complete Wan Shou Sutra on the War God continent. Give it to me. The old goat's eyes lit up. He opened his mouth and swallowed the stone tablet with the Wan Shou Sutra into his stomach. Ling Xiao knew that there was a huge space in the old goat's stomach. Not to mention a stone tablet, even a sacred mountain could fit in it. He smiled and left it alone. Ling Xiao took most of the treasures without hesitation, leaving a small portion for the Jade Lake sect. Under the pursuit of Zhong Huan and the experts of the Jade Lake sect, most of the Celestial Realm elders and disciples were killed. The rest fled in all directions. The Wan Shou sect was completely destroyed in this battle. The people of the Jade Lake sect took the rest of the treasures. Their eyes were filled with satisfaction and joy. This time, they followed Ling Xiao to destroy the sect without any danger. Instead, they gained a lot, which made them very excited. Next, the Terminator Demon sect. Ling Xiao smiled faintly and boarded the treasure ship to the Terminator Demon sect with the experts of the Jade Lake sect. Next, Ling Xiao used 3 days to destroy the Terminator Demon sect and the Underworld sect. These two sacred lands were naturally unwilling to submit to the Changsun sect. In the end, Ling Xiao broke their sect's formation and killed all the noble realm elders. He also took all the treasures of the sections. Ling Xiao's feat of destroying the Wan Shou sect, the Terminator Demon sect, and the Underworld sect in a few days shocked the entire 8 Desolation region. Although Ling Xiao had the combat strength to kill a noble realm cultivator, that didn't mean that he could destroy the sacred lands. Chapter 428. With Ling Xiao around, the rise of Changsun sect is inevitable. Someone exclaimed. There were even many sects that were jealous. Why didn't their sect have such a demonic disciple like Ling Xiao? The people from the Huang ancient country and the Hong ancient country were also anxious. They felt that a disaster was coming and they were afraid that Ling Xiao would kill them. In the end, when they saw that Ling Xiao had only destroyed a few sanctuaries and didn't find trouble with them, they were slightly relieved. At the same time, they warned the people from the ancient country not to provoke Changsun sect and Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao's last stop was Sun Moon Stars sect. The mountain gate of Sun Moon Stars sect was called Yin Yang Mountain. Yin Yang Mountain was 10,000 feet tall and it stood on a vast plain. The vast starry sky above its head was tainted by the radiant power of the stars, giving Yin Yang Mountain a mysterious power. The mountain was majestic and vast. From afar, it looked like a star that was covered in brilliant rays. Although Ling Xiao couldn't destroy Sun Moon Stars sect because of Shang Guanming, he still had to give them a warning. Originally, Ling Xiao thought that Sun Moon Stars sect would be like the other sects and they would resist stubbornly. However, when Ling Xiao arrived at Yin Yang Mountain, he realized that the sect protecting array of Sun Moon Stars sect was open. Under the lead of the 2 supreme elders, all the disciples of Sun Moon Stars sect were respectfully standing on 2 sides to welcome Ling Xiao and the rest. Greetings to the saint. After seeing Ling Xiao, the 2 white-haired grand elders quickly came forward to greet him. They bowed deeply to Ling Xiao, their faces filled with respect and awe. Originally, they had planned to activate the sect protecting array to stop Ling Xiao and even lure him into the array to kill him. However, when the news of Wan Shou sect, Terminator Demon sect and Underworld sect being destroyed by Ling Xiao spread, the 2 supreme elders were scared witless. They didn't have any intention to resist. Moreover, they knew that Yueshan and Ling Xiao were close. As long as they lowered their stance, Ling Xiao might let Sun Moon Stars sect off for Yueshan's sake. Why do you call me the saint? Ling Xiao's eyes flashed as he looked at the 2 grand elders with a smile that was not a smile. Under Ling Xiao's gaze, sweat appeared on the foreheads of the 2 grand elders. They felt an invisible pressure. Reporting to the Holy Sun, 10,000 years ago, our Sun Moon Star sect was originally a subsidiary sect of the Longevity sect. Moreover, the ancestor passed down the ancestral teachings that the Holy Sun of the Longevity sect is the Holy Sun of our Sun Moon Star sect. Below the sect master, everyone must submit to the Holy Sun. A supreme elder said cautiously. The other grand elder nodded repeatedly and said, "That's right." The Yin Yang lords and the sun god tried to harm the saint, and they deserve to die. I hope that the saint will spare the Sun Moon Star sect. We will follow the saint's lead in the future. Hand over half of the Sun Moon Star sect's treasures and don't go against the Longevity sect in the future. Then, I can let you go this time. Ling Xiao retracted his gaze and said indifferently. Thank you, Saint. Thank you, Saint. The two supreme elders were pleasantly surprised. The Sun Moon Star sect had escaped a calamity and didn't have to be destroyed like the other three sections. Not to mention half of their treasures, even if they had to hand over all of their treasures, they wouldn't have any objections. Ling Xiao, I'll bring you to see the Sun Moon Sky Steel. The moon deity smiled faintly. She was happy that the Sun Moon Star sect could be saved. Moreover, the moon deity seemed to know what Ling Xiao was thinking and said what was in his heart. The Sun Moon Sky Steel. Great, lead the way. Ling Xiao smiled. His main purpose of this trip wasn't to destroy the Sun Moon Star sect, but the Sun Moon Sky Steel. The Sun Moon Sky Steel was a treasure that he had given to Shang Guanming back then. It came from the same relic as the Sun Moon Star scripture. Ling Xiao was curious about the fact that this treasure had been preserved perfectly. The two supreme elders sent people to prepare the treasures as they called out to the experts in the Jade Lake sect. Ling Xiao brought the old goat and the Phoenix Lady and followed the moon deity to the Yin Yang Peak. The Sun Moon Sky Steel was at the peak of the mountain. Standing at the peak of the Yin Yang Peak, the surroundings were quiet. The vast land was in sight, and the stars were shining brightly above their heads. The Milky Way was crisscrossing, and the starlight was shining brightly. It was as if one could reach out and pluck a star. The source of the starlight was a 90-foot-tall steel. The steel looked strange. It was half black and half white. It absorbed the power of the stars and gave out an ancient and mysterious power. The steel looked smooth, and there wasn't a single word on it. When one looked at it, one would feel at peace, as if it contained an endless void. This is the Sun Moon Sky Steel. The moon deity had a strange look in her eyes. She said slowly, legend has it that the Sun Moon Sky Steel was a treasure that the Sky-Devouring Supreme had given to the Shangguan ancestor. However, for 10,000 years, no one has been able to pull it out. The Sun Moon Sky Steel is the core of the sect protection formation, and it has blocked countless invasions. It is said that it once drank the blood of an emperor. Moreover, cultivating the Sun Moon True Skill and the Sun Moon True Skill in front of the Sun Moon Sky Steel is twice the result with half the effort. The moon deity had obtained the Sun Moon Star sect, and she felt that there was a mysterious connection between her and the Sun Moon Sky Steel. The Sun Moon Sky Steel, I didn't expect it to still be here. Ling Xiao's eyes revealed a tinge of emotion. Fortunately, the elders of the Sun Moon Star sect were frightened by Ling Xiao, and they were willing to open the sect protection formation and surrender. Otherwise, with the Sun Moon Sky Steel as the eye of the formation, it wouldn't be so easy for Ling Xiao to break the formation. The Sun Moon Sky Steel was a unique treasure. In his previous life, only Shangguan Ming, who cultivated the Sun Moon Star scripture, could activate it. Of course, Ling Xiao could do it too. Although the Sun Moon Sky Steel wasn't a supreme weapon, it had the power of a supreme weapon. When unleashed to the extreme, it could destroy the heavens and the earth. Ling Xiao walked to the front of the Sun Moon Sky Steel, and stretched out his hands to grab both sides of the steel. The white side was blazing hot, and the black side was bone-chilling cold. Ling Xiao activated the Sky-Devouring Secret Skill, and his arms exploded with violent strength as he pulled the steel out. Rise! Ling Xiao shouted. Suddenly, the entire Yin Yang mountain trembled. Blazing starlight shone down like water waves, and it was dazzling. The Sun Moon Sky Steel shone brightly, and a vision of the sun and the moon appeared. It rumbled and trembled as it was pulled out of the Yin Yang mountain by Ling Xiao. This is the aura. No wonder it's so familiar. It's because of the Sun Moon Sky Steel. The moon deity's eyes sparkled as she exclaimed in her heart. At this moment, Ling Xiao was pulling out the Sun Moon Sky Steel. It seemed to overlap with a mysterious image in her heart, and she understood it. Boom! The sun-moon-sky steel was finally pulled out by Ling Xiao. Chapter 429. Crack. When Ling Xiao pulled out the heavenly moon steel, billions of lightning bolts exploded. The entire Yin-Yang mountain was filled with lightning. Starlight fell from the sky and poured into the heavenly moon steel. The heavenly moon steel floated in the air and gave out a mysterious aura. It swept away all the starlight and turned into a ray of light that fell into Ling Xiao's hand. The heavenly steel of sun and moon turned into a 3-inch wide and 9-inch long brick. It was black and white and sparkled like jade. It looked dazzling. Moreover, Ling Xiao felt that with a thought, the heavenly steel of sun and moon could turn into 100,000 feet tall and suppress everything. It's a brick. The old goat opened his eyes wide in disbelief. Don't underestimate the heavenly steel of sun and moon. When it's fully activated, it's like an immemorial sacred mountain. It can even kill an emperor. It's easy to use. Ling Xiao smiled. He recalled that 10,000 years ago, the heavenly steel of sun and moon was in Shang Guanming's hands. He could kill anything that stood in his way. However, as time passed, Shang Guanming died and the heavenly steel of sun and moon was left behind. Try activating the heavenly steel of sun and moon. Ling Xiao passed the heavenly steel of sun and moon to Yueshan. Yueshan cultivated the scripture of sun and moon and stars. She might be able to activate this treasure. Yueshan didn't take it. Instead, she smiled faintly and said, "This heavenly steel of sun and moon can gather the power of stars in Zhou Tian. It's very beneficial for me to cultivate the scripture of sun and moon and stars. However, other than that, it has no other use. Since you like it, keep it." Yueshan didn't covet the heavenly steel of sun and moon at all. Instead, she smiled faintly. All right. Ling Xiao didn't stand on ceremony and kept the heavenly steel of sun and moon. Not long after, the Grand Elder of Sun and Moon Stars sect prepared half of the treasures and carefully sent them to Yin-Yang Mountain. Even though they had sensed the terrifying phenomenon at the Yin-Yang Mountain, they knew better than to ask about it. This matter is over. Since you cultivate the scripture of sun and moon and stars, you can inherit the position of sun and moon stars sect master. Ling Xiao glanced at the moon god and said slowly. For some reason, Ling Xiao felt that he could not see through moon goddess, especially after she had cultivated the Lunisolar Sutra. It was as if the woman before him was really a divine daughter of the lunar palace that descended to the mundane world, about to drift away. No need. I wholeheartedly pursue the martial Tao. The position of sect master should be given to someone else. You should be heading to the war god continent soon, right? I'll go with you. The moon god smiled faintly. She did not look reluctant to leave. In the end, Ling Xiao, the old goat, and the others rose into the sky and returned to the Changsun sect under the respectful gazes of the two grand elders. Along the way, the Jade Lake sect's Grand Elder Zhong Huan bid farewell. His attitude was respectful and excited. The Jade Lake sect had earned a lot from destroying the Netherworld sect, Myriad Beast sect, and Terminator Demon sect. Most importantly, the 3 Holy Lands had been destroyed. Now, only the Jade Lake sect, the Sun Moon sect, and the Changsun sect were left in the 8 Desolation region. The resources and territories left by the 3 Holy Lands were also very valuable. Zhong Huan was both respectful and fearful of Ling Xiao. When they returned to the Changsun sect, the entire Changsun sect was in an uproar. The news of Ling Xiao destroying the 3 Holy Lands had already spread to the Changsun sect. Nangong Xian, who was worried, was extremely excited. The entire Changsun sect was also elated. Ling Xiao had to exchange greetings with everyone. Sect Master, I wish to preach again in a month's time. I wish to preach the martial Tao to immortality. Ling Xiao smiled at Nangong Xian. Preach the martial Tao to immortality. You've decided to leave. Nangong Xian's eyes flickered. He could guess Ling Xiao's thoughts. Ling Xiao was probably going to leave the 8 Desolation region and head to the War God continent. That's right. The 8 Desolation region has been forgotten by this world. The War God continent is the center of this world. That's where the geniuses fight for supremacy. That's where I can truly break through to the peak of the martial Tao. Ling Xiao's eyes shone with a sharp light. He was confident and arrogant. There was something he didn't say out loud. He could only find Jin say in the War God continent. I know that the 8 Desolation region is too small for you. Your journey is to the War God continent and the Sea of Stars. However, I didn't expect this day to come so soon. However, the 8 Desolation region and the War God continent are separated by the boundless reincarnation ocean. How are you going to get there? Nangong Xian said with some emotion. Ling Xiao smiled faintly and said, the underworld ship. What? Nangong Xian's expression changed. His eyes were filled with worry. He hurriedly advised, no, the underworld ship is too strange. It's said that the underworld ship is a ship that travels to the underworld. Most of the people who boarded the underworld ship have disappeared. Less than 1 out of 10 people can use the underworld ship to travel to the War God continent. You can't take the risk. 10,000 years ago, the 8 Desolation region was located in the north of the 8 Desolation region. It reigned supreme and was where the Changsun sect was located. At that time, the 8 Desolation region was the center of the world. Tens of thousands of creatures worshipped it. Experts were endless. However, in the Great Calamity 10,000 years ago, the 8 Desolation region was shattered in the endless war. The sky collapsed. It was said that the reincarnation ocean was formed between the 8 Desolation region and the War God continent. The reincarnation ocean contained the chaotic power of yin and yang. Noble realm and monarch realm experts would definitely die if they entered. Even supremes didn't dare to enter rashly. The reincarnation ocean was extremely mysterious. Not only did it have terrifying reincarnation storms, powerful and bloodthirsty reincarnation beasts, but the most bizarre thing was the underworld ship. No one knew the origin of the underworld ship. However, the underworld ship would dock at the 8 Desolation region and the War God continent every year. Some people had boarded the underworld ship and safely arrived at the War God continent. However, even more people had disappeared inside the underworld ship. It was extremely strange. Sect Master, don't worry. I'll be careful. The underworld ship isn't as terrifying as the legends say. Moreover, other than the underworld ship, the War God continent also has some adventure ships in the underworld sea. As long as we encounter those adventure ships, we'll be able to successfully arrive at the War God continent. Ling Xiao smiled faintly. His attitude was very firm. The reason why Ling Xiao decided to board the underworld ship was because the underworld ship had appeared 10,000 years ago. Although it was very mysterious, as long as one didn't violate the taboo of the underworld ship, they wouldn't lose their lives. Moreover, the underworld ship was the only passage between the War God continent and the 8 Desolation region. The 9th Holy Sun and Impermanence Ghost General had used the underworld ship to reach the 8 Desolation region. Alright. Nangong Xian had no choice but to agree. In the end, Ling Xiao changed the topic. He took out all the heavenly treasures he had plundered from the 3 holy lands. Nangong Xian immediately became excited. Chapter 430. You really have the secret skill of the true Phoenix. Phoenix Woman's eyes were filled with disbelief. Previously, when Ling Xiao told her that he could help her find the secret skill of the true Phoenix, she did not have much hope. But now, she was completely shocked. What's the big deal about the secret skill of the true Phoenix? As long as you follow me, you will have the supreme secret skill, and even divine martial arts in the future. Ling Xiao said with a smile. Divine martial arts? You're just bragging. Phoenix Woman rolled her eyes, but she was starting to believe him. This young man had obtained the inheritance of the sky-devouring Supreme and had created too many miracles. Of course, what Phoenix Woman was looking forward to the most was the secret skill of the true phoenix. She cultivated the vermilion bird true technique and her primordial yin was extremely dense. She was on the verge of exploding. Recently, she had been controlling her cultivation. Only the secret skill of the true phoenix could completely resolve her current crisis. The old goat reluctantly guarded Ling Xiao outside while Ling Xiao brought Phoenix Woman into the secret chamber and began to teach her the secret skill of the true phoenix. Conceal your spirit, merge with the heavens and earth, and return to the myriad forms. True like Huixin, under Ling Xiao's guidance, Phoenix Woman sat down cross-legged and began to adjust her spirit. Her aura gradually calmed down and her mind became clear. Ling Xiao sat opposite Phoenix Woman and pointed his finger. Suddenly, the secret skill of the true phoenix turned into a dazzling stream of light and merged into Phoenix Woman's forehead. Ling Xiao's eyes were solemn. The primordial spirit of the Zhang Six golden body in his sea of consciousness emitted boundless light as he channeled the power of the secret skill of the true phoenix. If Ling Xiao had not had a fortuitous encounter in the longevity secret territory and condensed the Zhang Six golden body primordial spirit, it would have been extremely difficult to impart the secret skill of the true phoenix to others. After all, the secret skill of the true phoenix contained the charm of the ancient true phoenix and involved the laws of heaven and earth. Ling Xiao himself had not fully comprehended it, so what he imparted to Phoenix Woman was only a part of it. Wang! Countless runes flashed in the secret skill of the true phoenix. The ancient characters were dazzling and turned into a phoenix that was about to fly. It was bathed in five-colored divine light and merged with Phoenix Woman's soul. Is this the true phoenix secret technique? The heart of the Phoenix Maiden trembled. She was incomparably excited. She felt a mysterious fluctuation spread out. Her primordial spirit seemed to have been brought to the beginning of the immemorial era. She saw a huge five-colored phoenix that emitted an incomparably terrifying power. Rumble. Within the Phoenix Girl's bloodline, strands of black divine light erupted, spewing out endless essence of the world. Her bloodline began to form a miraculous resonance with the huge five-colored phoenix. Blazing flames gushed out, revealing a five-colored light that enveloped the Phoenix Girl. At the same time, her aura began to surge. Is the dark phoenix body finally going to awaken? Ling Xiao's eyes revealed a trace of anticipation. At the same time, Ling Xiao felt that when the Phoenix Maiden received the inheritance of the true Phoenix secret technique, the speed of his cultivation of the true Phoenix treasured technique actually increased rapidly. Ling Xiao's body also started to emit a mysterious Phoenix Qi, which intertwined with the Phoenix Woman's. It was incomparably vast. Inside the secret chamber, Ling Xiao had already prepared over 1,000,000 spirit crystals. He had even taken out the 3,000 pure yang pills, just in case. Sure enough, when Ling Xiao and the Phoenix Maidens sank into the Tao-comprehending realm, their bodies began to absorb the essence of the world. Their cultivation began to surge. Hot, so hot, when the Phoenix Maiden received the inheritance of the true Phoenix secret technique, the vast amount of primordial yin energy that had been accumulated in her body began to surge uncontrollably. A blazing flame erupted, causing the Phoenix Maiden's clothes to be completely reduced to nothingness. A perfect body that could cause one's blood to boil appeared in front of Ling Xiao. Moreover, the Phoenix Maiden's jade-like arms instantly wrapped around Ling Xiao. Her hot body pressed against Ling Xiao's body and began to rub against him. The Phoenix Maiden's skin was like jade, and the waves in front of her chest were surging, revealing her perfect roundness. Her small waist was slender, and her thighs were slender and straight. At the same time, a black light burst out of her body, causing her to flicker in and out of existence, bringing about a different kind of temptation. The Phoenix Maiden's eyes were a little dazed. Her red lips were tender and charming as she directly pressed against Ling Xiao's lips. What? Ling Xiao's body shook, and he instantly woke up from his cultivation state. When he saw the Phoenix Maiden in front of him, he immediately revealed a bitter smile. This Black Dragon King is really ruthless. I originally thought that the true Phoenix secret technique would be able to completely resolve her crisis. I didn't expect her primordial Yin energy to have completely gone berserk. If I can't resolve the primordial Yin energy in her body, even with the true Phoenix secret technique, the Phoenix Maiden will be burned to death by the flames of desire. The power of Ling Xiao's primordial spirit was incomparably strong, and he instantly discovered the situation within the Phoenix Maiden's body. However, if he wanted to resolve the Phoenix Maiden's primordial Yin energy, he would have to have sex with a man. Although Ling Xiao's blood was boiling and his heart was racing, he didn't want to take advantage of the Phoenix Maiden at this time. Alright, actually, he had already taken advantage of her enough. I can only try the heaven-devouring secret technique. Ling Xiao struggled out of the Phoenix Maiden's embrace, not daring to look at the snow-white and smooth Holy Maiden peak in front of him. The heaven-devouring golden lotus was dazzling as it slowly floated up and landed on the Phoenix Maiden's head. Boom! A powerful devouring force erupted, and the primordial Yin energy in the Phoenix Maiden's body instantly swarmed towards the heaven-devouring golden lotus. The primordial Yin energy was the innate primordial Yin energy that contained a trace of the secrets of Yin and Yang. It also contained the Phoenix Maiden's lifelong cultivation. At this moment, it was devoured by Ling Xiao, and instantly turned into a violent force that began to push Ling Xiao's cultivation up rapidly. The power of the surrounding spiritual crystals and pure yang pills were all devoured by the sky-devouring golden lotus, faintly forming a strange taiji diagram. Between Ling Xiao and the Phoenix Maiden, there was a strange phenomenon of Yin and Yang coexisting. After the primordial Yin energy was released, the Phoenix Maiden gradually calmed down. However, she still hugged Ling Xiao's neck, and her legs crossed around his waist in a very subtle posture. Vaguely, there seemed to be a five-colored phoenix that circled around Ling Xiao and the Phoenix Maiden for a while, and instantly merged into their bodies. 4th level of the Celestial Being Realm. 5th level of the Celestial Being Realm. 6th level of the Celestial Being Realm. 7th level of the Celestial Being Realm. 8th level of the Celestial Being Realm. 9th level of the Celestial Realm. Ling Xiao and the Phoenix Maiden's cultivation actually began to soar at the same time, all the way to the peak of the 9th level of the Celestial Realm before it gradually quieted down. After an unknown period of time, the Phoenix Maiden woke up. When she saw the scene in front of her, she instantly let out a shrill scream. Ah! Ling Xiao, I'm going to kill you. Chapter 431. Ling Xiao grabbed Phoenix Girl's hand and said helplessly, "Miss Phoenix Girl, I didn't know that the primordial Yin energy in your body would go berserk after you cultivated the true Phoenix secret technique. Moreover, I didn't do anything to you, you're still talking." The Phoenix Girl gritted her teeth. She was so angry that her shoulders were trembling, and her cheeks were flushed red. Her angry appearance had a unique charm to it. Furthermore, the Phoenix Girl was still lying on Ling Xiao's body. Ling Xiao could not help but stare at her. Ah! Bastard! Seeing Ling Xiao's eyes, Phoenix Girl suddenly came to her senses. She was completely naked, and her position was so embarrassing. She immediately bounced off Ling Xiao's body and hurriedly grabbed a long robe to put it on. Phoenix Girl was embarrassed and angry. She wanted to find a hole to hide in. That. Miss Phoenix Girl, this is your first time inheriting the true Phoenix secret technique. You must consolidate it as soon as possible. I'll go out and take a look. Ling Xiao coughed dryly and quickly found an excuse to slip out. Although Ling Xiao did not expect the primordial Yin energy to go berserk, he still felt a little guilty after seeing the girl's body. So, he ran out of the secret chamber in a panic. Bastard, see how I'll deal with you when I come out. My cultivation has broken through to the 9th level of the sky human realm. Phoenix Girl's face was extremely red. However, when she felt the majestic true qi in her body, she was stunned. After inheriting the true Phoenix secret technique, her dark Phoenix body began to awaken. Her cultivation had skyrocketed. Phoenix Girl was angry and happy at the same time. She had mixed feelings. After Ling Xiao left the secret chamber, he saw Shui Wei in a white dress outside the secret chamber. "Young master, you're finally out. I thought something had happened to you." Shui Wei's face revealed a hint of surprise as she hurriedly said. "Shui Wei, why are you here? Where's the old goat?" Ling Xiao was confused. The old goat outside the secret chamber was not there, but Shui Wei was here. "Young master, you've been in the secret chamber for 9 days and 9 nights. I really thought something had happened to you." Shui Wei sighed in relief and said with a smile. 9 days and 9 nights. Ling Xiao could not help but click his tongue. When he taught the Phoenix Maiden the true Phoenix secret technique, he originally thought that it would only take a few hours. He did not expect that 9 days and 9 nights had passed. Thinking back to the fact that he had already broken through to the 9th level of the Sky Human stage, Ling Xiao could not help but sigh. As expected, there was no day or night in cultivation. "Young master, quickly go and take a look. I don't know where this wild child came from, but he wants to see you by name. The disciples of the Long Life sect have almost all been beaten up by him. The old goat is so angry that he has already gone to find trouble with that wild child." Shui Wei urged. "Wild child?" Ling Xiao was slightly taken aback. At that moment, a loud sound came from the sky above Longevity Mountain. 2 figures clashed violently, and Ling Xiao could even hear the old goat's miserable cry. Without giving Ling Xiao much time to think, he immediately brought Shui Wei to the peak of Changxing Mountain. At the top of Longevity Mountain, the old goat fell from the sky like a shooting star, causing the mountain to violently tremble. A resplendent rune neutralized the old goat's recoil. Otherwise, the old goat would have created a huge hole in the mountain. "Wild child, do you dare to tell me your name? You're infuriating me to death. If it wasn't for the fact that my Dao injury hasn't healed, I would definitely beat you up until your father can't recognize you." The old goat was so angry that he cried out loudly, his eyes filled with rage. A little boy who looked to be no more than 5 or 6 years old stood in the sky. He blinked his big eyes, and his chubby little face was very cute. The little boy's eyes revealed a trace of disdain as he said, "You don't deserve to know my name. Old goat, you're quite capable, but if you want to know my name, you'll have to defeat me first." "Wahahaha, you're infuriating me to death. Wild child, I'll definitely teach you a good lesson today." The old goat was so angry that he roared. He was a little angry from embarrassment, unable to keep his face. This little boy who looked to be no more than 5 or 6 years old was too abnormal. Not only did he defeat countless disciples of the Long Life sect, but he also blasted the old goat down from the sky with a single punch. He simply had unparalleled godly strength. "Stop!" Just as the old goat was about to charge forward, Ling Xiao and Shui Wei arrived. Ling Xiao looked at the little boy in the sky. He didn't know why, but he felt a sense of familiarity from his bloodline, which made Ling Xiao's hair stand on end. "I'm Ling Xiao. I heard you were looking for me." Ling Xiao looked at the little boy suspiciously and asked. "You're Ling Xiao? Ha ha ha. I really found you. Ling Xiao, take my punch first." The little boy's eyes were filled with excitement. His eyes rolled around, and he actually turned into a ray of golden light, smashing his chubby little fist towards Ling Xiao. Rumble. Ling Xiao's expression changed instantly when the little boy's punch landed. This punch was purely based on the strength of the physical body. It was vast and unparalleled. Golden lightning exploded in the sky like an immemorial divine mountain, pressing down on Ling Xiao. Good timing. Ling Xiao's eyes revealed a trace of unparalleled battle intent. The strength of the flying dragon body completely exploded. He also formed a golden fist and rushed into the sky. It was no wonder that this little boy was able to strike down the old goat with a punch. Even Ling Xiao felt an immense pressure. This was the first time Ling Xiao had seen such a terrifying physical strength since his rebirth. Could it be that this little boy was really a divine beast cub? Boom! The two fists collided, and a vast divine light radiated out. The surrounding clouds were instantly dispersed, revealing the clear blue sky. The terrifying sound waves spread out, shaking the ears of the people below. Their blood was boiling, and their faces were extremely pale. Who is this little boy? How can he have such terrifying strength? Nangong Xian and the others were stunned. A 5 or 6-year-old child's physical strength was actually not weaker than Ling Xiao's. It was simply heaven-defying. Ling Xiao was sent flying dozens of feet by the little boy's punch, and the little boy somersaulted in the sky and stood firmly on the clouds. Ha ha ha! This is great. You're much stronger than that old goat. Come again. The little boy beamed, and golden light flashed in his eyes. He shouted loudly, and it was as if a dragon's roar shook the world. A terrifying dragon's aura spread out like a real dragon's claws, attacking Ling Xiao. A member of the dragon clan? Ling Xiao shook his numb arm and felt the vast dragon's aura. Instantly, a trace of shock appeared in his eyes. However, this punch was already in front of him. Without giving Ling Xiao time to think, the power of the ancestral dragon's secret skill completely exploded. At the same time, he activated the violent dragon's superpower. Ling Xiao was enveloped in golden light, and lightning surged. The golden fist pierced through the void and blasted forward again. This was the peak of Ling Xiao's physical strength. Even the current old goat was no match for Ling Xiao in terms of physical strength without fully recovering from his Dao injury. Boom! The blazing golden light exploded like a sun, instantly drowning Ling Xiao and the little boy. You're tuning in to the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.